Hello, and welcome back to Zen and Fanfics. Today we're starting an exciting new series. What if hero Deku had rebirth as female? If you enjoy this video, please like and subscribe for more content. The story we're featuring is written by Korina Kimalilpa 8 on Wattpad. You can find all the relevant links in the description, so be sure to check out the author's profile and say hello. Now let's dive into the story. The room is dim. A single lamp glows over Inko, who clutches a framed photo of Izuku in his hero costume. Her tears drip on the glass. The silence of her home weighs heavily, broken only by her shaky breathing. Inko, whispering, voice breaking, "My sweet boy, you gave your life for them, for everyone. And now, you left me here, all alone. Knock, knock, knock." Inko, flinching, quickly wiping her tears. "Who's there?" She opens the door. Mitsuki and Masaru Bakugo stand there. Mitsuki's sharp eyes immediately soften when she sees Inko's face. Mitsuki, gently, her usual bluntness gone. "Inko, oh, honey." "Masaru, soft but steady. We were worried about you. May we come in?" Inko nods shakily, stepping aside. Mitsuki sets down a basket of food, but her attention never leaves Inko's trembling hands on the photo. Inko, voice breaking, "Every day, every night. I wait for him to walk through that door. But he never will. He was all I had, my only light. And now, I live in shadows." Mitsuki, kneeling in front of her, grabbing her shoulders firmly, "Don't say that. Izuku's light still shines. In every soul he saved. In every heart that remembers him." Inko, sobbing, clutching the photo to her chest. "But what about me, Mitsuki? What about his mother? Who remembers me when the world moves on?" Masaru, sitting beside her, voice heavy with emotion. "Inko, I can't take your pain away, but I can share it. We nearly lost Katsuki so many times. Every battle felt like it could be the last. And every time, I thought of you. How strong you had to be, raising Izuku alone." Mitsuki, her own eyes shining, though she refuses to cry. "That stupid kid of yours, he wasn't just a hero. He was family to us too. If you think you're alone, you're wrong. You still have us." Inko, voice trembling, finally leaning into Mitsuki's arms. Thank you. If I close my eyes, I can almost hear him laugh." Mitsuki, holding her tightly. "Then hold on to that sound. Because Katsuki does too. And he'll carry Izuku's fire for the rest of his life." Silence falls. Inko sobs softly in Mitsuki's arms while Masaru places a steady hand over both of them. The grief is deep, but so is the bond, keeping Izuku's memory alive. A narrow alley lit by neon signs. Sirens wail in the distance. The villain clutches a crying baby tightly, sweat dripping from his brow as Class 1A surrounds him. Villain, shouting, panicked, "Stay back. I swear I'll." Bakugo, explosion sparking at his palms, voice sharp as a blade. "You lay a dim-in finger on that extra, and I'll blow you to pieces." Todoroki, ice crackling across the ground, voice cold and steady. "Your threats end here." Villain, wild-eyed, tightening his grip on the baby. "One step closer, and this kid." Tokoyami, dark shadow roaring behind him. "Release the child, or sink into eternal night." Kirishima, teeth grit, fists hardened to stone. "You're a coward, using a baby as a shield. Heroes don't let some like you walk free." Ida, blades flashing from his calves, voice commanding. Villain, surrender at once or face the consequences of justice. Shinso, eyes glowing, his voice low, chilling. "Give me the baby." The villain staggers, his grip faltering under Shinso's command. In that split second, Bakugo, roaring now. Tokoyami lunges, dark shadow, striking like a beast. The villain jerks back, but Kirishima hardens and dives forward, snatching the baby into his arms. The baby wails loudly, but safe. Villain, screaming, thrashing, "No, let me go." Bakugo, charging up a massive blast, fury in his voice. "You think you can threaten us? You're dead meat." Todoroki, slamming his hand down, ice shooting up to freeze the villain's legs. "Bakugo, control yourself. We need him alive." Bakugo, snarling, lowering his hand reluctantly. It. Fine. But he's not walking away unscathed. Ida, wrapping capture gear tightly around the villain's arms. By the authority of UA, you are under arrest. Shinso, cold glare, stepping close. If you even think about hurting another innocent, I'll be the voice that ends you. Tokoyami, checking on Kirishima, the child. Kirishima, smiling, rocking the baby gently, safe. Just scared. You're okay, little one. You're okay. Bakugo, growling, looking away, but his voice softening. Good. The villain screams in frustration as police sirens grow louder. The heroes stand together, shadows of their lost friend hanging over them. Todoroki, quiet, almost himself. Midoriya, this is the path you left for us, and we'll keep walking it. Bakugo, clenching his fist, voice rough but firm, demand right. For Deku, always. The baby's cries fade into soft whimpers as the heroes stand tall. The night is heavy with danger, but also with resolve. Their fight continues. The doors of the agency slide open. Bakugo, Todoroki, Kirishima, Ida, Shinso, and Tokoyami step inside, escorting the crying parents. The mother clutches her baby tightly, sobbing into the child's hair as the father bows deeply. Mother, voice trembling, we thought we'd lost our little one forever. Thank you, heroes. Father, eyes wet, voice breaking. How can we ever repay you? You've given us back our whole world. Kirishima, smiling warmly, scratching his head. No need for that. We just did what any hero would have done. Tokoyami, solemnly. Darkness threatened your light, but we refused to let it consume. Bakugo, gruff, looking away, TCH. Just keep your DMN kids safe from now on. Don't make us clean up your mess again. Mother, hugging the baby tighter, whispering, we promise. Achiko rushes over, cheeks flushed with relief. Achiko, smiling, you guys were incredible. That villain didn't stand a chance against you all. Mina, grinning wide, hands on her hips. That was some serious teamwork. Boom, crash, and then swoosh, the baby's safe and sound. You guys looked amazing out there. Kaminari, snickering, leaning on Ida's shoulder. But the baby was calmer in Kiri's arms than it would have been with Bakugo's scary face glaring down at it. Kirishima, laughing awkwardly. Hey, don't tease him like that. The baby's fine, that's what matters. Mineta, giggling mischievously. Nah, Kaminari's right. Kakin actually looked, what's the word, gentle. Bakugo, exploding, sparks flying from his palms. Shut your dim-in mouths, both of you, or I'll launch you into next week. Todoroki, deadpan, sipping water from a cup. He did look softer, though. Bakugo, roaring, pointing at him. You want to die? I see why hot. Everyone bursts into laughter, the tension breaking. Even the baby giggles faintly through its tears. The parents, still emotional, bow one last time. Father, deeply, holding his wife close. We'll never forget this. You've saved us more than you know. Thank you all. They leave quietly, holding their child. The heroes watch them go, then finally let out a collective breath of relief. Achiko, sighing, smiling softly, seeing them reunited like that. That's why we keep fighting. Mina, crossing her arms, smirking, yup, that's hero work, baby. Shinso, leaning against the desk, his voice low. Yeah, but it never gets easier. The group settles into the office. Phones ring, papers shuffle, the rhythm of agency life resumes. Some type reports, others make calls. Aoyama sits at his desk, unusually quiet, staring off into space with his pen twirling. Finally, he speaks. Aoyama, softly, almost to himself. We nearly forgot something important. Tokoyami, glancing at him. Forgot something? Shinso, raising an eyebrow, arms crossed. With the chaos of today, that's not surprising. What is it? Ida, pushing up his glasses, serious. If there is a duty or responsibility unfulfilled, we must address it immediately. Aoyama, lowering his eyes, voice heavy. Tomorrow is Midoriya's 7th death anniversary. The entire office falls silent. The scratching of pen stops. The ringing phone goes unanswered. One by one, their eyes lower. The air grows heavy. Achiko, clutching her chest, her voice trembling, 7 years. I still can't believe it. It feels like he's going to walk through that door any moment, smiling awkwardly like always. Mina, sniffing, trying to smile through tears. He'd trip on the way in, then laugh it off. That nerdy grin of his. Kirishima, fist clenching, voice rough. He never gave up. Not once. Always gave more than anyone. It hurts, not having him here. Tokoyami, solemn, voice deep. His flame was extinguished too soon. Yet his shadow still guards us. Shinso, looking down, his voice low. I didn't know him as long as the rest of you, but even I could see it. The guy carried everyone's weight, and he never complained. Todoroki, staring at the photo on the wall. Class 1A smiling together. He carried more than he should have. And yet, he still smiled for all of us. Ida, voice breaking slightly, gripping his desk. As class representative, it was my duty to protect him. But in the end, he protected us. His sacrifice was greater than any of ours. Bakugo has been silent, standing by the window with his hands shoved deep in his pockets. His shoulders tremble slightly. Finally, he speaks, his voice rough, low, and filled with anger and grief. Bakugo, gritting his teeth, that demon nerd, always putting everyone else first. Always rushing in head first like he didn't matter. Pauses, his voice cracking. He should have let me. He should have let us help him. Achiko, tears streaming, whispering, we'll go tomorrow. All of us. Together. Kirishima, nodding firmly, yeah, he deserves it. We owe him that much. Mina, sniffing, smiling sadly, flowers, lots of them. The brightest ones. He liked simple, warm things. Aoyama, placing a hand over his heart, and sweets. He always shared his food, even when he barely had enough. Tokoyami, closing his eyes, a tribute of light and darkness. For the hero who bore both. They all gather around the framed photo of Class 1A. In it, a younger Izuku smiles nervously but brightly, surrounded by his classmates. The silence grows heavy. Bakugo, whispering, his eyes fixed on the photo. Deku, don't think for a DM second we've forgotten you. No one speaks further. The clock ticks in the office. Their hearts ache with grief, but also with love. The weight of tomorrow presses down on them all. The morning sun shines softly over the quiet cemetery. A gentle breeze passes, rustling the leaves. One by one, Class 1A, now full-fledged pro heroes under Bakugo's agency, gather before a polished stone engraved with the name Izuku Midoriya. His hero emblem is etched proudly beside it. They place flowers, candles, and food at the grave. Achiko, kneeling, placing flowers, voice trembling. Izuku, it's been 7 years. And I still hear your voice in my head sometimes. You never stopped trying, even when everything was against you. Sniffling, I miss you so much. Kirishima, kneeling beside her, voice rough, wiping his tears, bro, you were the strongest out of all of us, not just in power, but in heart. You gave it all. And it hurts, man. It hurts like hell not having you here. Kaminari, crying openly, his hands shaking as he sets down flowers. You were always so cool, even when you didn't think you were. You inspired me, Deku. I still look up to you. Sniffles hard, D-a-minute, I miss you. Mina, hugging Achiko as she cries. You were our sunshine, Izuku. Always awkward, always smiling even when you were hurt. You were family. Breaking down. Why did you have to go? Aoyama, placing a small basket of sweets at the grave, tears streaming. Mon Ami. I shine, but my heart is hollow without you. You were the true sparkle of Class 1A. Mineta, trying to speak but choking on sobs. You idiot, you stupid idiot. Why do you have to leave us like that? Nearby, Hagikure's invisible figure shakes visibly as she sobs quietly, her hands pressed together in prayer. Others stand behind, holding back their tears. Ida, Shiro, Yamamo, Jiru, Ajui, Ojiro, and Koda all have tears in their eyes, but they keep their composure. Ida, straightening his posture, though his voice cracks. Midoriya, you were the very embodiment of what a hero should be. Your sacrifice was the greatest lesson I have ever learned. I will carry it with me always. Yamamo, hands trembling as she clasped them together. You were more than a classmate, Izuku. You were an inspiration. I am honored to have fought by your side, even if only for a short while. Jiru, looking away, biting her lip, voice low. "Earn it. Nerd. You always push yourself too hard. But you left this hole that no one can fill." Azui, quiet, her hand resting on the grave, ribbit. "Midoriya, you are always kind. I hope you're resting in peace, wherever you are." Ojiro, voice steady but his fists clenched. "You were the most genuine person I ever knew. We'll never forget you." Koda, too choked to speak, just sets down a flower, bowing deeply, tears falling silently. A few stand with serious expressions, their grief buried deep but sharp. Bakugo, Todoroki, Tokoyami, Shoji, and Shinso. Tokoyami, solemn, dark shadow bowing its head, a light lost, yet eternal. Your memory will never fade into the abyss. Shoji, quiet, his mask hiding most of his face. You showed us true strength wasn't just power, but heart. Thank you, Midoriya. Shinso, hands in his pockets, voice low. You should have let us help you, idiot. You didn't have to do it alone. But, pauses looking down. You're a real hero, through and through. Todoroki, kneeling to set down a white flower, his voice calm but heavy. You carried too much, Midoriya. You didn't deserve to die that way. But you changed me. And for that, I'll never forget you. Bakugo stands silently, staring at the grave. His hands are jammed deep into his pockets, his jaw tight. Finally, he speaks, his voice rough and strained. Bakugo, gritting his teeth, eyes wet, demin nerd. Even now, you're still one step ahead of me. Pauses, whispering. I'll never forgive you for leaving. But I'll never stop carrying you with me either. Silence falls. The gravesite is filled with the sound of muffled crying, heavy breaths, and the soft crackle of candles burning by the headstone. Footsteps approach. The class looks up. Inko Midoriya, dressed in black, walks slowly toward the grave, supported gently by All Might in his weakened form. She holds a bouquet of lilies in trembling hands. Her eyes are swollen from tears, but she forces a gentle smile as she sees the students. Inko, softly, voice trembling, you all came. After 7 years, you still came for my boy. Achiko, rushing over, bowing deeply, tears in her eyes. Mrs. Midoriya, of course we did. Izuku he was everything to us. Mina, sniffling, hugging Inko tightly. We could never forget him, never. Kirishima, nodding firmly, his voice breaking. He was our brother, our friend, our hero. Inko, placing the lilies on the grave, her hands shaking. Thank you for remembering him. Even after all this time, I was so afraid that the world had moved on and left him behind. All Might, his voice deep, though cracked with emotion. Young Midoriya's legacy. Lives on. Through you, through all of us. He was the bravest soul I have ever known. Ida, stepping forward, bowing deeply. Mrs. Midoriya, All Might, we made a vow as Class 1A. We will never let Izuku's memory fade. He lives in every life we save. Todoroki, quiet, his eyes on the grave. He changed us all. We're who we are today because of him. Bakugo, gruffly, looking at Inko but refusing to let his tears fall. That din nerd's not going anywhere. Not from us. We'll make sure of it. Inko, sobbing softly, covering her mouth. He loved you all so much more than he ever said out loud. Thank you for still being here for him. They all bow their heads. Some cry openly, some silently. Some keep their grief locked inside. The grave of Izuku Midoriya is covered with flowers, candles, and offerings, proof that even after 7 years, his presence lives on in all their hearts. In another city, far from the graves and tears, the camera pans over a quiet apartment. A desk filled with papers, open books, and a laptop glowing in the night. A woman sits there, appealing, graceful, with emerald eyes that shine faintly under the lamplight. She writes endlessly, her pen moving like fire across paper. On the cover of the manuscript, by Isizu, they thought he was gone. They mourned him, grieved him, and carried his memory like a wound that never healed. But far away, Izuku Midoriya lived on, though not as they remembered. She pauses, staring at her reflection in the window, her long green hair tied back, her figure different, delicate yet strong. This is Izuku now, Isizu. A woman, unaware of who she once was. Isizu, thinking aloud, her voice soft and curious. I don't remember much about who I used to be. No family, no friends, just glances at her hand as sparks of energy flicker. But I know this. I'm not normal. These quirks, they're inside me, waiting. She lifts her palm, and green lightning crackles faintly, mixing with another quirk's fiery glow. She quickly closes her hand, breathing heavily. Isizu, frowning, whispering to herself, How do I have all of this? Who was I before? She sighs, pushing her doubts aside, and looks back at her manuscript. She forces a small smile. Isizu, softly, no matter what my past was, I'm Isizu now. Just an author. Just someone living a simple life. She places her hand on her latest book draft, stories about heroes, courage, and sacrifice. Though she doesn't know the words come from fragments of her real past. The scene shifts. Flashes of memory, the war against the villains, fire consuming the skies, the earth shaking, the cries of people. Izuku, still a male, battered and bloody, stands against the tide of chaos with one for all burning in his veins. Izuku male, panting, broken but determined, I can't stop here. If this is what it takes, I'll give everything. The final blow lands. Darkness swallows him. He falls silence. A void appears, endless light. In front of him stands the shadows of the previous one for all users, their voices echoing. First user, young Midoriya. Your body is broken beyond repair. Your journey as you are has ended. Nana Shimura, soft, motherly voice, but you don't deserve death. Not yet. Your spirit burns too strongly. Izuku, male, desperate, gasping, please. I can't die yet. I have to protect them, protect everyone. Second user, gruff. Then a choice must be made. To live again, you must give something up. Izuku, male, confused, weak. Give up. Ninth user, voice solemn, almost a whisper. Your body can no longer survive as it was. But we can reshape it, rebirth you anew. You will live, but as someone else. Someone different. Izuku, male, wide-eyed, whispering different. Nana Shimura, gently. You will lose your past, your memories, even yourself. But you will breathe again. Your heart will continue. That is the price. Izuku, male, shaking, crying. If it means the world can still be safe, if it means I can still protect, then close his eyes tightly. I'll do it. I'll give it all. A blinding light engulfs him. His body shifts, transforms, his form smaller, softer, his voice lighter. Emerald eyes open once more, but different. New. He gasps awake in another place, a woman now. Isizu wakes suddenly at her desk, clutching her chest, breathing hard. Her pen drops from her hand. Isizu, whispering, shaken, that dream again. A boy fighting, then light, grabs her head. Who was he? Why does it feel like he was me? Her quirks flicker again. One for all's lightning surging with other strange powers. She stares at her hands, trembling. Isizu, voice breaking. These powers, these memories, they don't make sense. Who am I really? She stares at the name she signed on her manuscript. Isizu, a name she chose for herself, but one that carries fragments of her truth. She was gone, yet not gone. Dead, yet alive. Forgotten, yet waiting to be remembered. The world mourns Izuku Midoriya, but somewhere in silence he still walks as Isizu. The morning sun streams through Izu's apartment window. She zips her last suitcase shut, her hands delicate but steady. Her outfit is neat, modest yet stylish, a white blouse tucked into a soft green skirt, her hair tied loosely with a ribbon. She looks like a woman ready for change. Isizu, softly, while looking around her apartment one last time, this chapter of my life ends here. Touches her desk where manuscripts are stacked neatly. Time to start the next one. She lifts her shoulder bag, pulls her suitcase behind her, and walks out. At the bus station, she stands quietly among strangers, her posture graceful, but with an aura of calm strength. Stranger woman, sitting beside her, friendly. First time traveling far, miss? Izuku smiles gently. You could say that. It's a long trip, but I feel like I'm meant to go there. Stranger woman. Curious, Mizudafu? That's hero country. Dangerous, but also full of hope. Izuku, soft chuckle, eyes thoughtful hope. Yes, that's what I'm looking for too. The bus arrives, doors hissing open. Izuku bows politely before stepping inside, suitcase in hand. She sits by the window, resting her cheek on her palm as the city fades away behind her. She writes in her journal as the bus rumbles forward. Izuku, writing a new beginning. A city of heroes. I don't know why, but my heart tells me my story continues there. The bus screeches to a stop. Izuku steps out, her suitcase rolling behind her. She gasps softly. The city is alive with heroes. A pro-hero leaps across rooftops. Another saves a child from falling debris. Sidekicks patrol the busy streets. Izuku, eyes widening, breathless, amazing. Heroes everywhere. This city, it feels alive. She quickly opens her journal, scribbling as she walks slowly, observing everything. Izuku, writing, they shine, even in chaos. Protecting strangers without hesitation. They're more than warriors, they're the heartbeat of this city. She stops by a small apartment residence, a neat, cozy building with flower pots by the windows. She rings the bell, and a cheerful landlady greets her. Landlady. Oh, you must be the one who called earlier. Miss. Izuku, right? Izuku bows politely, smiling yes. Thank you for meeting me. The landlady leads her inside, showing her the tidy apartment. Wooden floors, sunlight through the window, and a balcony view of the city skyline. Izuku, soft gasp, stepping toward the window. The view is appealing. Landlady, you like it? Many heroes live nearby. Sometimes you can see them training in the distance. It makes the place feel safe. Izuku gently touches the window. Frame, smiling faintly, safe. Yes, that's important. Landlady, warmly. Well, you're in luck. This place is yours if you want it. Izuku turns, smiling brightly. I do. This feels right. Like I finally found where I belong. She sets her suitcase down, breathing deeply, as if her soul has been pulled back home without knowing why. Her journal lies open on the desk. She writes one more line. Izuku, writing this city, it feels like I've been here before. Like I was always meant to return. The camera pans out the window to the skyline of Mizudafu, unknowingly, the city where her old life once thrived, and where her past is waiting to find her again. Inside her new apartment, Izuku neatly arranges her belongings. Books stacked on a shelf, clothes folded in the closet, her journal placed on the desk. After eating a simple meal, she changes into a light floral dress and ties a ribbon in her hair. She looks into the mirror, soft, graceful, with an almost nostalgic glow in her eyes. Izuku, to her reflection, smiling faintly, a new city, a new chapter. Let's see what stories you'll give me today. She steps outside, holding her small shoulder bag and journal. As she walks through the bustling streets, she pauses often, taking photos of shops, children laughing, and even stray cats. Each sight makes her smile, yet something lingers behind her eyes. Izuku, thinking as she writes in her journal, strange, every corner of this city feels familiar. Like I've walked these streets before, yet my memories are silent. Still, the feeling is warm. Her steps stop suddenly when she notices a storefront. Her eyes widen, sparkling as she gasps. Izuku excitedly, All Might? The store window is full of All Might merchandise, action figures, posters, even limited edition keychains. Without hesitation, she hurries inside, her face lighting up like a child's. She carefully picks out 5 brand new All Might figures, hugging the bag happily as she leaves. Izuku whispering with joy, I don't know why, but having these makes me safe, like he's watching over me. She steps back onto the busy sidewalk, humming softly, the shopping bag swinging from her hand. The camera lingers on her smile, a smile eerily familiar to anyone who once knew Izuku. Elsewhere, Kaminari, Mineta, Shinso, and Kirishima patrol the streets in their hero uniforms. Their movements are casual, showing how much routine patrols have become for them. Kaminari, groaning, rubbing his stomach. "Man, I'm starving. Why didn't we grab a bite before heading out?" Mineta, complaining, because someone said we'd have no time. Now, look at us. Empty stomachs, no energy, and no girls in sight. Kirishima, rolling his eyes. "I told you two to eat before work. But no, you just had to complain about being late." Shinso, dry tone, arms crossed, classic. Heroes of hunger. What a tragedy. Kaminari and Mineta whine in unison, clutching their stomachs dramatically. Just then, as if time slows, a figure passes by them. Izuku, the light floral dress, her ribbons swaying gently, her steps graceful and refined. She doesn't notice them, absorbed in scribbling something in her journal as she walks. Kaminari and Mineta, jaw-dropping, whispering at the same time, an angel. Both of them freeze in place, utterly stunned, watching her like statues. Mineta, whispering, trembling, she's perfect, appealing, graceful, like a goddess walking among mortals. Kaminari, clutching his chest dramatically. "Dude, my heart just got electrocuted, and I'm the one with the quirk." Shinso lets out an annoyed sigh, while Kirishima pinches the bridge of his nose. Without hesitation, both of them grab Kaminari and Mineta by the collars, yanking them backward. Kirishima, scolding, serious, "Don't even think about it." Shinso, stern, sharp, "You'll just look like creeps if you approach her like that. Do you want a harassment report? Or a headline that says pro heroes acting like perverts?" Kaminari and Mineta gulp, still watching Izuku walk away, her ribbon swaying behind her like a piece of fate floating in the air. Their protests are weak, lovesick. Kaminari, whining, but just one high. Mineta, clutching at air dramatically. "At least let me bask in her aura." Kirishima, gritting his teeth, "No. Heroes respect people's space." "Got it." Shinso, muttering darkly. "Besides, someone that graceful? She's out of your league anyway." The four continue their patrol, Kaminari and Mineta still glancing back in longing. Meanwhile, Izuku turns a corner and pauses, hand resting on her chest. Her smile fades slightly as she feels something. Izuku, thinking, hand trembling slightly, "Why does my heart ache? Those uniforms, those boys. Why do they feel familiar?" She shakes her head, trying to dismiss the strange feeling, and continues walking. The scene closes on a lingering shot, Izuku moving forward, while her old classmates unknowingly follow behind in the same city, fate tightening its threads once more. On a busy intersection in Yuzuta-fu, Bakugo, Todoroki, Ida, and Shiro are handling a heated situation. Two men are yelling, one slapping the hood of the other's car while traffic piles up. Ida steps forward, arms raised in authority. Ida, commanding gentleman. Violence and reckless behavior on the street endangers lives. Please cease immediately. Todoroki uses a small ice wall to separate the men, forcing them to calm down. Shiro quickly binds their arms with tape so they stop shoving. Todoroki, calm, serious, cool off before someone gets hurt. Shiro, lightly, chuckling. "You're lucky it's us on patrol and not cops." Bakugo scowls, arms crossed, his tone sharp and dripping with annoyance. Bakugo, snarling, "Teach them in extras. Always wasting our time with dumb CRP like this. Can't drive, can't think, can't shut up." Shiro smirks at Bakugo, nudging Todoroki. Shiro, teasing, "Man, you're way too grumpy, bro. It's just traffic." Todoroki, deadpan, but playful. "I think explosions aren't an ideal solution for road rage either." Bakugo glares, sparks popping at his palms, while Todoroki stays straight-faced. Bakugo, growling, "Say that again, half and half, I dare you." Ida, cutting them off, exasperated, "Enough. We have resolved the dispute. The road is clear, and civilians are safe. That means mission complete. Now let's get back to the agency at once before more chaos breaks out. Bakugo grumbles, but falls into step. Todoroki gives a small smirk, and Shiro chuckles under his breath. The group heads down a side street, where they run into Kaminari, Mineta, Kirishima, and Shinso, who are still patrolling. Kaminari and Mineta look depressed, slouching while Kirishima and Shinso look more composed. Shiro, raising a brow. Oi, what's with the funeral faces on you two? Kaminari, dramatic, clutching his chest. You wouldn't understand, Shiro. We saw perfection today, and then she just walked away. Mineta, groaning, a goddess in human form, appealing, radiant, graceful, and we couldn't even say hi. Bakugo and Todoroki exchange a look, uninterested, and keep walking. Ida, however, stops dead in his tracks, hands snapping into a chopping motion. Ida, furious, lecturing tone, unacceptable. As pro-heroes, you must never treat women as objects of infatuation on duty. Our responsibility is the safety and dignity of the public, not chasing after appealing strangers. Kaminari and Mineta shrink back under Ida's verbal assault. Shinso yawns, clearly unfazed. Shinso, flat. I already told him that. Didn't work. Feel free to keep hammering it in. Kirishima, defensive, try to lighten it. Hold on, Ida. Listen, we didn't let them approach her. Shinso and I stopped them. Heroes aren't creeps, you know? Shiro, grinning curiously. Okay, but what did she look like? If they're this hung up, she had to be something special. Kirishima pauses, then speaks earnestly, surprising them all. Kirishima, serious tone, she was appealing. Not just like pretty. She had this presence. Graceful. Like she didn't even belong on the same street as the rest of us. Kaminari and Mineta nod furiously in agreement, starry-eyed. Todoroki glances over, his expression unreadable but thoughtful, while Bakugo scoffs and shoves his hands in his pockets. Bakugo, grumbling, TCH. Who cares about some random chick? Quit wasting time and let's move. Todoroki, quietly, almost himself, graceful, huh? The group continues on, the words lingering in the air. The camera shifts briefly to Izuku, elsewhere in the city, sitting on a bench, writing in her journal as the late afternoon sun warms her face. The threads of fate grow tighter, pulling her closer to her old friends. Late afternoon, Izuku sits gracefully on a bench near the plaza, her journal open on her lap. She scribbles notes quickly but neatly, sketching small symbols of quirks, jotting observations about teamwork, tactics, and style she's witnessed. A soft smile touches her lips as she glances around. Izuku, whispering while writing, their cooperation, their precision. So admirable. These heroes protect even the smallest details of daily life. Her gaze drifts across the street, and suddenly she spots a tall, modern building gleaming under the sunlight. The bold letters across the front read, Bakugo Agency. Izuku gasps softly, standing to get a closer look. Izuku, on her voice, Bakugo. Agency? What a powerful name. The design, so strong, yet refined. Whoever leads this must be remarkable. She approaches slowly, tracing her eyes along the building's sharp angles and glass panels. Aoyama and Sato, standing outside the agency doors, notice her lingering interest. They pause their casual conversation and exchange a glance. Sato, curious, stepping closer. Excuse me, miss? Do you need something here? Isa turns, startled. She hugs her journal to her chest, shaking her head quickly. Isa's shy, polite tone, oh. And no, I'm sorry. I was just admiring the design. It's truly appealing. I didn't mean to intrude. She turns as if to leave, but Aoyama steps forward with a small flourish, smiling brightly. Aoyama, dramatic flair, oh ho ho. No need to retreat so quickly, Belincanyo. A woman with such taste in architecture deserves at least a kind word. Non? Sato chuckles at Aoyama's theatrics, then reassures her. Sato, gentle, don't worry. We just thought you might have been lost. That's all. You're not in trouble. Izuku stops, hesitates, then bows slightly. Izuku, soft voice, forgive me. I was just captivated. This building feels alive, like it reflects the spirit of its heroes. Aoyama and Sato exchange a glance, then both laugh lightly, not mocking, but charmed by her sincere words. Aoyama gestures dramatically toward the entrance while Sato gives her a small nod. Aoyama, with sparkle in his voice, "Well then, mademoiselle, why not see it from the inside?" Izuku, surprised, wide-eyed, "Oh really? You're not kidding?" Sato, smiling, "Of course not. Come on, we'll show you around. Just a peek." Izuku bites her lip, unsure, then slowly follows them in. The moment she steps inside the Bakugo agency, her eyes widen. The gleaming floors, large training displays, the hum of activity from sidekicks and heroes moving about. She instinctively lowers her head, clutching her journal tightly. Izuku, whispering, "This is amazing. I feel like I shouldn't even be here." Achiko, Jairu, Yayuzu, and Shoji sit reviewing reports. They immediately pause at the sight of the unfamiliar girl. Achiko, curious, tilting her head, who's this?" Jairu, raising a brow. "She doesn't look like a recruit." Yayuzu, polite but puzzled, or an applicant. Izuku bows deeply, clutching her journal to her chest like a shield. Izuku, apologetic, "I'm so sorry. They only allowed me to see inside. I'll leave immediately if I've caused any trouble." Sato, grinning, "Relax. She was just admiring the place." Aoyama, striking a pose. "She is but a poet enchanted by beauty." Some of the girls exchange amused glances. Achiko, smiling gently. Achiko, "It's okay, don't worry." Jairu, smirking, "Seriously, Aoyama, you make it sound like she's in love with the walls." Before more could be said, the glass doors burst open. Bakugo, Todoroki, Kaminari, Kirishima, Ida, Shinso, and Mineta stride in from patrol, uniforms dusty, expressions sharp. Bakugo's eyes instantly lock onto Izuku. Bakugo, furious, sparks crackling in his palm. "The hell is this? Since when do we let random extras waltz in here, like it's a DMN tourist spot?" Izuku freezes, trembling. Sato raises his hands quickly. Sato, "Wait, Bakugo. She's not trouble. She just—" Aoyama, dramatic bow. "Merely admiring the majesty of your empire, mon capitaine." Bakugo, snarling, "Are you too brain-dead? What if she's a spy? You think villains wear neon signs saying danger? Idiots." Ida, slamming his hand in a chop. "I must agree. Allowing civilians inside without clearance violates every protocol imaginable." Izuku bows again, her voice trembling but sincere. Izuku, soft, shaking, Please forgive me. I only wanted to see just once. I mean no harm. I'll leave it once." Silence. The group stares. Todoroki narrows his eyes at her, something unreadable flickering in his gaze. Kirishima and Kaminari exchange confused looks. Shinso crosses his arms, unreadable. Even Mineta keeps unusually quiet. Bakugo, growling after a pause, exhaling harshly, "TCH. Fine. You got 5 DMN minutes. Look around, then get out." Gasps ripple among the sidekicks. Bakugo never bends rules like this. Izuku blinks in shock, her voice soft as she bows again. Izuku, whispering thank you. "I'll be quick." She steps deeper into the agency, her eyes wide with awe. Todoroki's stare lingers, sharp and suspicious. Bakugo clenches his fists, sparks flickering, not just out of anger, but something he refuses to name. Kaminari and Mineta practically spring forward the moment Izuku steps into the common floor. Goofy smiles plastered across their faces. Kaminari, leaning casually, "Well, hey there, miss. New recruit. We're just scouting the place." Mineta, grinning, hopping around, "Forget scouting. Are you single?" Izuku blinks, taken aback by their sudden energy, clutching her journal closer to her chest. Before she can even answer, Kirishima chops Kaminari on the head, and Achiko flicks Mineta's forehead. Kirishima, scolding, "Don't scare her off, you boneheads." Achiko, firm but gentle, "Yeah, she's a guest, not your entertainment." Izuku chuckles softly, almost hiding her smile behind her journal. Her eyes wander to the glowing CCTV monitors, the city maps, and flashing panels of emergency calls across the wall. Izuku, softly curious. So this is how you see everything at once? Real-time alerts, hero deployment. It's like the city breathes through these screens. Jiru, leaning on the wall with her hands in her pockets, notices the spark in Izuku's eyes. Shoji joins in, his calm tone reassuring. Shoji, explaining, exactly. The CCTVs track disturbances, the maps predict danger zones. Jiru, pointing, and these alerts, emergency calls come straight from civilians. We sort them, prioritize, then send squads out. Izuku's expression softens into awe, her eyes shining. She gently presses her journal against her chest, as if holding back a thought. Izuku, smiling faintly. Heroes really carry the weight of so many lives, don't they? The others exchange surprised glances. Her words don't sound like idle admiration, but like someone who understands. They continue showing her around. Training hall, mission hub, even the armory. Meanwhile, in Bakugo's office, he sits with his legs spread, sipping coffee, jaw tight. Across from him, Ida, Tokoyami, Shinso, and Todoroki sit in serious discussion over their last mission. Ida, pushing his glasses up, we need stricter patrol rotations along the West District. Villain activity has risen 20% in the last month. Tokoyami, brooding, darkness thrives where vigilance falters. We cannot allow blind spots. Shinso, calm, eyes flicking to the hallway cameras. Speaking of blind spots, why is that civilian still walking around? They all glance at the CCTV feed. On the monitor, Izuku's small figure follows Aoyama and Sato, but she isn't gawking like a tourist. She's observing. Every step deliberate. Todoroki, quietly, she's different. Bakugo slams his cup down on the desk, scowling. Bakugo, gritting teeth, in right she is. And I don't like it. Keep watching. Izuku steps slow as she enters the main hallway lined with framed photos of fallen heroes. Her gaze moves from frame to frame, faces of the past, until she stops. Her journal slips slightly from her grasp as her eyes widen. The photo of Izuku Midoriya, smiling brightly in his hero suit, stands at the center. Gold letters beneath it read, Pro-hero Deku, fallen in the war 7 years ago. Izuku stares, motionless. A quiet tremble runs through her lips, but she doesn't speak. The silence in the hall grows heavy as her shoulders stiffen. Back in the office, all eyes snap to the feed. Bakugo narrows his gaze, muscles taut. Shinso leans forward slightly, intrigued. Todoroki's eyes sharpen. Kirishima, from behind her, breaking the quiet. Oh, you're looking at that one, huh? Izuku blinks rapidly, snapping from her trance. She turns her head slightly as Kirishima steps closer, his tone respectful but tinged with sadness. Kirishima, soft smile, but somber. That's Izuku, our friend. He died in the war about 7 years ago. A real hero, one of the best. Izuku swallows hard, her throat tightening. She lowers her eyes, nodding silently, gripping her journal until her knuckles pale. Izuku, whispering, I know. Her voice is so faint it almost slips by. Kirishima blinks, confused. Kirishima, raising a brow, no? Izuku doesn't answer right away. She just looks back up at the photo, her eyes glassy but steady. She takes a small breath, steadying herself. Izuku, quiet, controlled. I've heard stories about him. Heroes like him don't disappear from people's hearts, even after death. Behind the glass wall of the office, Bakugo's jaw locks, his fist clenching on the armrest. His crimson eyes never leave her figure, like he's trying to read a secret only he can sense. Todoroki watches too, suspicion flashing across his calm expression. Shinso, low voice, to the others, she didn't just hear stories. Look at her. That reaction isn't secondhand. The tension lingers, as if the air itself is holding its breath. Izuku continues to stand before Izuku's picture, quiet and unreadable. Yet her presence alone feels like a ripple in their world. The heavy silence of Bakugo's office shatters as he slams his hands on the desk, standing abruptly. Todoroki, Ida, and Tokoyami follow after him as he storms toward Izuku. Bakugo, furious, voice sharp, enough sneaking around. Who the hell are you really? Izuku flinches at his tone, clutching her little journal close. Izuku, stammering, I told you. I'm not a spy. I'm not anyone dangerous. I'm just a normal girl. But Bakugo doesn't buy it. He strides forward, his eyes blazing with fury, grabbing her arm roughly. Bakugo, growling, don't give me that CRP. You don't just wander into my agency. You're hiding something, and I don't tolerate liars. Get out. Now. Izuku gasps, tears forming in her eyes as she struggles slightly against his grip. Todoroki steps in quickly, his tone calm but firm. Todoroki, stern Bakugo. Stop. You'll scare her. Ida, firm, raising hand. Bakugo, unhand her at once. This behavior is not fitting of a pro-hero. Tokoyami, darkly, rage clouds your judgment. She is yet to strike. For a moment, Bakugo's glare locks with Izuku's trembling eyes. Then he snarls and lets her go, shoving her back a step. Bakugo, snapping, TCH, pathetic. If you're really just a normal girl, then you don't belong here. Izuku rubs her arm, voice soft, broken. Izuku, teary, I'm telling the truth. In the central lounge, Sato, Aoyama, and Kirishima rush up, seeing the tension. Sato, defensive, wait, Bakugo? She didn't do anything wrong. Aoyama, waving dramatically, we mon ami. She was only dazzled by our heroic brilliance. Kirishima, serious, yeah man, she's not dangerous. She was just curious. Come on, don't overreact. Bakugo, snarling, arms crossed, bullshit. That's exactly what someone making excuses would say. What if she's spying for villains? We don't even know her DMN name. The team falls silent. Ida adjusts his glasses, stepping forward cautiously. Ida, calm, careful, then let us ask her directly. Miss, please state your name. Izuku stands frozen, trembling. Finally, her lips part and she speaks, her voice cracking. Izuku, soft, teary, my name is Izuku. Just Izuku. The words echo in the room. Everyone stares in shock. Todoroki, frowning, no last name? Kirishima, confused, that's impossible. Everyone's out a family name. Tokoyami, low, an identity without roots, suspicious indeed. Bakugo's glare sharpens, his suspicion only growing. He takes a threatening step toward her. Bakugo, snarling, enough lies. Nobody forgets their own DMN name. You're hiding something, and I'm done playing nice. You're coming with us to the station. Now. He grips her wrist again hard. Izuku gasps, tears spilling down her cheeks as she shakes her head desperately. Izuku, pleading, voice breaking, please. I'm not a criminal, I'm not. Suddenly, crack. The air erupts with green lightning. Black tendrils of energy WHP out violently from her body, lashing across the room like serpents. Everyone gasps, eyes widening in shock. Todoroki, stunned, that power. Ida, eyes wide, impossible. Tokoyami, grave, whispering, the quirk of Midoriya, one for all. Bakugo freezes, his grip loosening as his eyes widen with raw shock. He stares at the green lightning dancing across her arms, his voice low and shaken. Bakugo, hoarse, whispering, no way. That's Deku's quirk. Izuku stands trembling in the storm of power, her eyes filled with tears. She looks at them all, fear, sadness, and something unspoken burning in her gaze. Izuku, soft, almost whispering, I'm not lying. Then, with a rush of wind and sparks of lightning, she bolts toward the door, black whip snapping out to propel her. In seconds, she's gone, vanishing into the city streets. The agency falls into stunned silence. The crackle of fading lightning lingers in the air. Everyone exchanges looks of disbelief and unease. Kirishima, stammering, dude, that was. Todoroki, cutting in, serious, one for all. All eyes turn slowly to Bakugo, whose hands are clenched into fists, his expression a storm of anger, confusion, and something deeper, fear. Bakugo, growling low. That demon quirk died with Deku. So how the hell does that girl have it? The room falls into heavy silence, the impossible question hanging in the air. The conference room feels heavier than usual. Files and coffee cups clutter the table. The heroes sit in silence for a moment until Ida adjusts his glasses, breaking it. Ida, serious. We must address the truth of what we witnessed. That girl, this Izuku manifested one for all's abilities. There is no mistaking it. Achiko, nervously, wringing her hands, but she only said her name was Izuku. No last name. It doesn't make sense. Deku was Midoriya, Izuku, not just Izuku. Kirishima, gritting teeth, still you saw her face, right? When the quirk went off, that wasn't someone pretending. She looked terrified, like she had no idea what she'd done. Todoroki, calm, analytical, which makes it worse. A quirk like one for all in the hands of someone with no control could cause disaster. We've seen what Midoriya endured to MSTR it. Tokoyami, low voice, arms folded, darkness often hides in ignorance. If she doesn't know what she holds, the power itself could consume her. Aoyama, nervous chuckle. Or perhaps, she is Deku, transformed, reborn in a new form, leans in dramatically. A mysterious miracle, Bakugo, snapping, slamming the table. TC stops spitting fairy tales, Diamond Sparkler. Deku's dead. We all know it. 7 years ago. End of story. The room falls silent. Bakugo's voice had a crack of pain under his fury, and everyone notices. Sato, gently, still. It's hard not to think about it, man. Same quirk. Same name, kind of. What if it's connected somehow? Achiko, soft, troubled, when she looked at Deku's picture. It wasn't just curiosity. Her eyes, it felt like she knew. Everyone looks uneasy. Todoroki narrows his eyes at Bakugo, who sits rigid, fists clenched. Todoroki, serious. You sensed it too, didn't you, Bakugo? For a long moment, Bakugo doesn't answer. He finally growls under his breath. Bakugo, quiet, bitter. It doesn't matter who the hell she is. If she's got one for all, she's either a threat or a demon mystery we don't need. The others exchange glances. None of them fully agree, but none can deny the weight of Bakugo's words. The small apartment is dim, lit only by a weak lamp. Izuku sits at her table, staring at her trembling hands, the faint sparks of green lightning still lingering in her memory. She wipes her eyes, her voice cracking. Izuku, whispering, I didn't mean to. I didn't want to scare them. She grips her chest tightly, breathing uneven. Izuku, shaking her head. Why? Why do I have this power? Who am I really? She gets up and paces the room. On the shelf lies a notebook where she's been jotting down everything she remembers, which isn't much. The first page only has her name written messily. Izuku, nothing more. Izuku, Teary, just Izuku, no last name. No family. No past. Nothing. She slams the notebook shut and presses it to her chest. Lightning flickers faintly across her arm before fading. Izuku, trembling, they'll never believe me. They'll think I'm lying. Or dangerous. She goes to the window and looks out over the city, her reflection staring back at her. The reflection's eyes glow faintly green. Izuku, soft, determined, I won't go back there. Not ever. She closes the curtains and curls up on the couch, hugging her knees, tears slipping down her cheeks. Izuku, whispering broken, but if this power's mine, I have to learn, even if I don't know who I really am. The camera lingers on her, fragile but quietly determined, as the green lightning crackles faintly in the dark. The night deepens. Everyone is restless in the agency's lounge. Bakugo paces with clenched fists, his anger burning like sparks ready to ignite. Jiru is at her console, shaking her head. Bakugo, snapping Jiru, track her already. Jiru, frowning, I told you I can't. I don't have her frequency, her ID, nothing to lock on. She's a ghost. Ida, adjusting his glasses, stern, Bakugo, enough. You cannot treat this woman like a criminal. She was frightened and unstable, not hostile. Todoroki, calm but firm, he's right. It looked like an accident. You saw her face, Bakugo. She wasn't trying to fight. Bakugo, gritting teeth, slamming his fist into the wall, TCH accident my butt. People don't accidentally have Deku's DMN quirk. The room goes silent. Bakugo's words hang heavy in the air. He glares at them all, then storms toward the exit, explosions sparking faintly from his palms. Bakugo, growling fine. If you cowards won't move, I'll find her myself. The door slams behind him. The others exchange uneasy looks. The park is dimly lit, moonlight spilling across the empty field. Izuku sits on the grass, hugging her knees. Slowly, she stands and raises her trembling hands, sparks of green lightning crackling faintly. Izuku, whispering to herself, focus, maybe if I just steady my breathing, I can control it. She spreads her fingers wide, making hand gestures, trying to force the quirk in a line. Black Whip lashes out wildly, slamming into the ground before retracting with a snap. She gasps, sweating, clutching her chest. Izuku, teary, why? Why can't I control it? What am I? A sudden boom echoes above. Flames of orange scatter as Bakugo lands hard, the grass crunching beneath his boots. His sharp eyes lock on her glowing figure. Bakugo, low, dangerous, found you. Izuku gasps, her body stiffening. She stumbles back, panic flooding her face. She turns to run, but Bakugo lunges forward and seizes her arm in a rough grip. Izuku, screaming no. Please, I didn't mean to dash. Bakugo, snarling, pulling her closer. Shut it. You think I'm buying that CRP? You're walking around with his quirk. That alone makes you dangerous. Izuku, desperate, crying. I swear I don't know why this is happening. I don't even remember who I am. It just came out I didn't want to hurt anyone. Bakugo glares at her, his expression twisted with fury and something darker he refuses to show. He doesn't wait for more excuses. With one motion, he hoists her onto his shoulder like a sack of rice, ignoring her struggles. Izuku, kicking, sobbing, stop. Please, I am not a criminal. Let me go. Bakugo, growling, blasting into the sky with explosions. Shut up. You're coming with me, whether you like it or not. The night air whips past as he rockets toward the agency, carrying her like captured prey. Her sobs echo faintly, her sparks flickering uselessly in the dark as Bakugo's grip refuses to loosen. The agency is quiet. Most of Class 1 is scattered around the main hall. Suddenly, the doors slam open. Bakugo storms in, smoke trailing from his palms, dragging a trembling Izuku behind him. Everyone gasps. Mina, eyes wide, whoa, Bakugo. You found her. Bakugo, snapping, didn't right I did. He shoves Izuku down onto the couch with no gentleness, standing over her like a warden. His glare burns as the others rush closer. Achiko, concerned, kneeling beside Izuku. Hey, it's okay. You don't need to be afraid. Bakugo, cutting in, barking, don't coddle her. This woman broke into my agency and flaunted Deku's DMN quirk like it's hers. She owes us answers. Izuku, shaking, teary, clutching her chest. I told you already. I don't know. I didn't want to hurt anyone. I don't even know who I am. Tokoyami, stern, shadow, shifting uneasily. That's too convenient. A nameless girl wielding Midoriya's power? Ida, raising his voice. Young lady, this is serious. How did you acquire that quirk? Was it stolen? Inherited illegally? You must clarify. Izuku, crying, bowed her head. I don't know. I woke up like this. I just wanted to understand it. The room fills with murmurs. Suspicion and pity mix uneasily. Bakugo clenches his fist. Bakugo, cold, final, enough of this CRP. Someone call the cops. She's getting arrested for trespassing and suspicion of espionage. The atmosphere drops heavy. Izuku's eyes widen, panic spilling across her face. Minutes later, red and blue lights flash outside the agency. Two police officers step in, grim-faced. Class 1-8 gathers around as they approach the trembling Izuku. Officer, firmliness, state your name. Are you spying on this agency? Why were you here? Izuku, teary, voice cracking, and no, I'm not a spy. I'm not a criminal. I just I don't know who I am. I only remember one thing. The officers exchange skeptical glances. Class 1A watches closely, tense. Izuku clutches her chest, suddenly gasping as a flicker of memory surges in her mind-green lightning. A familiar voice, a hand reaching out. Memory, echoing in her head, one for all, gives you a chance to live. Izuku, whispering, then louder, for all. It gave me a life to live. That's all I remember. The room falls into shocked silence. Class 1A stiffens. The police pause, their pens hovering over their notepads. Izuku, through tears, Izuku. I'm Izuku, but I can't remember the rest. Her words crash through the hall like thunder. For a moment, nobody breathes. Then the backlash explodes. Kirishima, angry, fists clenching. Don't you dare use his name. Mina, furious, eyes burning. Our friend died a hero. How dare you mock him like this? Achiko, voice shaking, tears forming. Stop it. Don't use Izuku's name if you're lying. The room trembles with grief and rage. Izuku looks at them, broken, her voice hoarse. Izuku, whispering, I'm not lying. I swear. But Bakugo steps forward, his face a mask of cold fury, cutting through the storm. Bakugo, to the police, take her away. Now. The officers nod, seizing Izuku by the arms. She sobs, looking desperately at Class 1A as they turn away, refusing to believe her. The doors slam behind her, leaving silence heavier than stone. Inside the agency, the tension is suffocating. Everyone speaks over each other, their anger boiling. Mina, frowning, arms crossed. That woman, what a sick joke. Pretending to be him. Kirishima slams fist on the table. Yeah, it's not just disrespectful, it's cruel. Deku gave his life, and she's walking around with his face? Shoji, deep voice, unsettled. Or maybe she doesn't know. Maybe it's not an act. Ida, stern, cutting in. Either way, she endangered civilians. We cannot ignore that. Hagakure, who's been silent, notices something on the couch. A small plain bag. She picks it up carefully. Hagakure, softly, guys, she left this. Everyone turns. Hagakure holds it out. Bakugo snatches it without hesitation, muttering. Bakugo, let's see what she's hiding. He dumps the contents on the table. Out falls a journal, an old phone, and a thin wallet. They stare. Ida, adjusting glasses, This may answer some questions. Bakugo flips the phone open. The screen comes alive, no password, no lock. His brow furrows. Bakugo, what the dash? Ida leans over. Together they scroll through. Dozens of photos appear, just selfies of Izuku. Sometimes on the street, sometimes with a notebook. No friends, no background life. Ida, frowning, no contacts. No accounts. Not even a single family call log. Bakugo growls annoyed. She's a DMN ghost. Meanwhile, Todoroki and Kirishima open the wallet. Inside, a few wrinkled bills. Nothing more. Todoroki, low, almost to himself, no ID. No bank card. Nothing. Kirishima, frowning, frustrated. That's impossible. It's like she doesn't exist. The group shares uneasy glances. A silence falls. Finally, Achiko picks up the journal slowly. Achiko flips through the worn pages. Her voice trembles as she begins to read. Achiko, reading softly. I woke up on the seaside. No memories of myself or my past. Just pain. Just confusion. The room stills. Every word lands heavy. Achiko, reading slower. I had nothing but a dirty, ripped hero costume. Torn. Bloody. I didn't know who I was. The ocean took everything. Mina shifts uncomfortably, her anger faltering. Kirishima frowns, arms crossed tightly. Todoroki's eyes narrow slightly. Achiko, turning the page, voice shaking. I started calling myself Izuku. It felt right, like a piece of me was still here. I wanted to live, even if I couldn't remember how. Achiko's hands tremble. Something slips out from between the pages and ID card. It clatters to the floor. Everyone stiffens. Achiko bends down, picking it up. Her breath catches. It's a hero license, bloody, cut into pieces, scratched beyond recognition. Only fragments remain. The word hero license barely visible. The name scratched to obscurity, but one fragment stands out. Zu. Achiko. Whispering, horrified. No way. Todoroki. Quiet, stepping closer. What is it? Achiko slowly holds it up. The group stares, horror spreading across their faces. Achiko. Voice breaking. This was Deku's hero license. Gasps, denials, disbelief. The room erupts. Mina. Backing away, shaking her head. No. That can't be real. Kirishima. Voice cracking. We buried him. We saw it. How does she dash? Shoji. Low, unsettled. Then what if she is him? The air grows heavy. Achiko clutches the journal tightly, tears filling her eyes. Achiko. Whispering that woman. Izuku. She isn't lying. Everyone freezes. She meets Bakugo's gaze, sobbing. Achiko. Louder, trembling. She's Izuku. He's alive. Somehow. With no memory. Silence. Mina covers her mouth in shock. Ida grips his glasses, stunned. Kirishima mutters, no way. Under his breath. Todoroki stares at the license. Unreadable, but shaken. And Bakugo, his fist trembling, his jaw clenched so hard it hurts, suddenly storms out, his voice like thunder. Bakugo. Furious, shouting, TCH move, DMN-IT. The others jolt. Without another word, Bakugo blasts out of the agency. Todoroki, Ida, and Kirishima immediately follow after, calling his name. The cops have already left, leaving only a trail of dust and silence. Achiko stays frozen in place, clutching the journal, whispering as tears roll down her cheeks. Achiko, whispering to herself, Deku, you're alive. Inside the agency, everyone is tense. Bakugo stands over Achiko, his arms crossed, voice sharp. Bakugo, snapping, don't just stop there, round face. If you're saying she's Deku, then prove it. More than scraps, more than guesses. Achiko grips the journal tighter, her hands shaking. She flips to another page, swallowing the lump in her throat. Her voice trembles as she reads aloud. Achiko, every night, I see a man in my dreams. He has messy green hair, bright green eyes, freckles across his face. He's always smiling, even when everything feels heavy. He saves people with a smile, just like All Might. I don't know who he is, but when I dream of him, I feel like I was him. The words hang in the air. Silence follows, heavy and suffocating. Ida's glasses fog as he lowers his head, trembling. Mina covers her mouth to hold back a sob. Kirishima grips his fist tightly, his voice breaking. Kirishima, that's Deku. That's our bro. Nobody else. Todoroki narrows his eyes, speaking low but certain. Todoroki. Those details, his hair, his eyes, the freckles. She couldn't have known unless she was him. Achiko shuts the journal slowly, her tears slipping freely now. Achiko whispers it's him. He's alive. He doesn't remember, but it's Izuku. The others can't look at each other. Anger fades into guilt. The weight of what they'd done sinks in. Bakugo, trembling, slams his fist against the wall with a snarl, voice cracking. Bakugo, shouting, you dim-in nerd. You really never quit, huh? Even now, you're out there suffering while we... He can't finish. His teeth grit as his voice falters. The entire class stands in silence, finally realizing the truth they'd refused to believe. At the police station, the cell door shuts with a loud clang. The officers walk away, leaving Izuku alone. She sits hunched on the cold bench, hands trembling in her lap. Tears stain her face. Izuku, soft, broken, I don't understand. Why do I feel like I'm missing pieces? Why does it hurt so much, even when I can't remember? Her eyes drift to her hands. Scars and faint calluses line her palms. She stares at them, confused. Izuku, whispering, these hands, why do they feel like they've been fighting for something? For someone? Her chest tightens. The confusion, the fear, the loneliness all crash down. Her breath shakes as she curls up, hugging her knees. Izuku, choking. Maybe they're right. Maybe I don't belong here. Maybe I was never meant to exist. She lays down slowly, burying her face in her arms. The cell is cold and quiet, only the sound of her soft sobs echoing. Tears keep falling until exhaustion overtakes her. Eventually, she drifts into sleep, still crying, still lost. The camera lingers on her, fragile and broken, but alive. Somewhere deep inside her, the spark of Izuku Midoriya waits, small, faint, but unextinguished. Achiko continues reading, her hands trembling but her voice steady, pushing through tears. Achiko, every time I close my eyes, I see that building. The laughter of classmates in gray uniforms, their blurry faces looking at me with warmth. And him, always him, the boy with green eyes and freckles, smiling like the sun, saving people with his hands stretched out, just like All Might. She closes the journal, hugging it tightly. The silence in the room is deafening, everyone staring at one another as reality crashes down on them. Mina whispers it's him. It has to be. Kirishima, voice breaking but firm. Yeah, it's our bro. It's Midoriya. He never really died. Ida nods gravely, fists clenched at his sides. Ida, there's no longer any question. We must act quickly. He is our responsibility. We will not let him suffer 1 second longer under false accusations. Todoroki looks at Bakugo, his tone calm but sharp. Todoroki, he's been living alone for 7 years, with no memory. We don't leave him behind this time. Achiko wipes her tears and looks at Bakugo. He hasn't moved, just staring at the ground with his fists shaking. Finally, he growls. Bakugo, gritting his teeth, dimming it. That nerd's been out there all this time. Lost. Crying. And we didn't even know. He slams his fist into the table, his voice cracking. Bakugo, I don't care what it takes. We're bringing her home. She's ours. She's Izuku Midoriya. Our Deku. Everyone nods in agreement. Determination fills their hearts, heavy with guilt but burning with resolve. Together, they march toward the exit. Achiko, quietly, clutching the journal. Hold on. Deku, we're coming. Their footsteps echo through the agency halls, filled with the weight of their vow. This time, they won't fail him again. Meanwhile, at the station, the night is heavy with silence. Izuku lies curled up on the thin mattress of her cell, her eyes red from crying. Her breath is shaky as she finally drifts into an exhausted sleep. Suddenly, boom, a massive explosion rips through the building. Flames and smoke erupt, alarms blaring as debris rains down. Screams echo as cops rush in panic, but they are cut short, silenced by more blasts. A masked villain steps through the chaos, laughing manically as the walls tremble. Villain, pathetic heroes. Pathetic system. Burn all down. The station collapses bit by bit. Izuku wakes, coughing, eyes wide with terror as the smoke fills her cell. Izuku, panic, what's happening? Somebody please. She rushes to the bars, pulling desperately, but the steel won't budge. The walls crack, bricks fall. Another prisoner screams from the next cell. Prisoner, help. We're trapped. Somebody. Crash. A chunk of the ceiling caves in. A heavy brick slams against Izuku's shoulder and head. She gasps, stumbling back. Izuku, weakly, her vision blurs. She collapses to the floor, BLD running down her temple, consciousness slipping away. The station groans under its own weight as more walls crumble. Screams fade into silence. Outside, sirens wail as ambulances and fire trucks rush to the scene. Flames lick the night sky as the station crumbles, leaving Izuku and the others buried beneath rubble. Later, the agency group rushes through the smoke-filled streets, sirens cutting the air. As they turn the corner, their eyes widen at the sight. The police station is nothing but a heap of rubble, flames licking upward while firefighters and ambulances scramble. Kirishima, stunned. No way, we're too late. Mina, covering her mouth. Oh my God. Hawks swoops down, his expression grim and serious. Hawks, you guys shouldn't be here, but yeah, the whole station was hit. Villain bombed it out of nowhere. Most cops didn't make it. The prisoners, they're still under there. Everyone freezes. Achiko's face pales as her eyes well with tears. Achiko, shaking, Izuku. The weight of guilt crushes their chests. They remember her teary voice, begging to be believed, her words about being Izuku, and they had all turned away. Todoroki, low voice, she tried to tell us. She tried. Kirishima slams his fist against the wall of a nearby truck, his eyes burning. Kirishima, damn it. We let her rot in there because we doubted her. Bakugo stands motionless at first, fists clenched so tight they bleed. His whole body trembles with rage, but the tears in his eyes betray his true feeling, terror. Bakugo, hoarse, whispering no, not again. Not this time. He storms forward toward the wreckage, his voice exploding like a thunderclap. Bakugo, move. If Deku's in there, I'll tear this whole place apart brick by brick if I have to. The others follow quickly, panic and regret driving their movements. The group throws themselves into the rescue operation. Achiko floats massive chunks of concrete into the air, with tears streaming down her face. Todoroki freezes unstable structures, preventing more collapse, while Kirishima hardens his body to push through the jagged rubble. Achiko, screaming, she's under here, I can feel it. Hurry! Bakugo blasts debris aside recklessly, shouting her name over and over. Bakugo, desperate Izuku. Damn it, answer me, nerd. Suddenly, through the smoke and broken stone, a glimpse of green hair appears beneath the rubble. Bakugo's heart stops. Bakugo, choked, no. He scrambles on his knees, shoving bricks aside with raw hands until he uncovers her battered body, unconscious and bloodied. His eyes go wide, his voice breaking as he carefully lifts her into his arms. Bakugo, pleading, trembling, no, 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 don't do this to me, damn it. Not again. Wake up, nerd. Wake up. Her face is pale, her breath shallow. Bakugo clutches her tightly against his chest, his forehead pressing to hers as tears spill freely. Bakugo, sobbing, I'm sorry. I was wrong, I was so damn wrong. You told us, and I didn't listen. Forgive me, Izuku. Please just open your eyes. I can't lose you again. Not like this, not ever again. The others stop digging, their eyes wet as they watch Bakugo holding her like the most fragile treasure in the world. The sound of ambulances grows louder as medics rush toward them, but Bakugo refuses to let go, rocking her gently in his arms. Achiko, crying, Deku, hold on. Please hold on. Todoroki, low, steady, she's alive. She has to be. The night burns with fire and regret, but within Bakugo's arms, hope flickers faintly in the form of a weak, uneven breath from Izuku. At the hospital, the ambulance screeches into the hospital emergency bay. Medics rush Izuku in on a stretcher, wires and bloodied bandages trailing behind. Bakugo runs beside her until the swinging doors shut in his face. He stops, fists trembling, unable to breathe. Bakugo, guttural, don't you dare leave me again, Deku. Hours feel like days. The group waits outside the emergency room, their hearts heavy with guilt. Achiko silently clutches her hands in prayer. Kirishima paces endlessly. Mino wipes her tears against her sleeve. Todoroki leans against the wall, staring at the floor. Finally, the doctor pushes open the doors, pulling off his gloves. Everyone jumps to their feet. Doctor, calmly, she's stable now. Her injuries were serious. Fractures, internal bruising, minor head trauma. But she's not in critical condition anymore. She'll need several days to recover, but she could wake up at any time. The weight lifts from their chests. Relief floods the air. Bakugo steps forward quickly, his voice sharp but filled with desperate relief. Bakugo, put everything on my bill. Don't hold back on her treatment. Just make sure she's fine. Doctor, nodding, of course. She's lucky she was found so quickly. The group hurries into the hospital room. There she lies, still pale and fragile. Monitors beep softly beside her, the sound steady but haunting. Her green hair is matted with BLD at the edges of fresh bandages, her chest rising and falling faintly under the sheets. Everyone stops at the door, the sight hitting them harder than any villain strike. Achiko, whispering, Echo. Bakugo walks in first, his jaw tight, pulling a chair right next to the bed. He sits heavily, his elbows on his knees, face buried in his hands. For once, he says nothing. His silence speaks louder than his usual shouting. The others slowly gather around the bed. The room is quiet except for the machines and their uneven breathing. Kirishima. Softly, we treated her like she was nothing, like some enemy. And all this time, she was him. Our bro. Our friend. Mina. Sniffling. I kept thinking she was a spy or some villain trying to mess with us. And look what happened. We pushed her away, and she almost died alone. Achiko. Tears falling. I should have believed her the moment I read those dreams. I should have fought harder for her. I should have trusted my heart. Todoroki. Low, steady, but conflicted. 7 years we mourned him. We moved forward because we thought there was no chance. And now, he's here alive. Changed, but alive. He stares at Izuku, and we almost lost him all over again. Silence. Bakugo finally lifts his head. His eyes are red, raw, and burning with a mixture of fury and heartbreak. Bakugo, voice rough, don't you get it? This is on me. I was the loudest one. I called her a liar. I said she was nothing but trouble. If I'd just listened, if I hadn't been a demon idiot, she wouldn't be lying here like this. His hands shake as he grips hers tightly, almost afraid she'll vanish again. Bakugo, whispering, breaking. I already lost him once. I can't do it again. I won't. The others watch in silence, their regret sinking deeper. All of them have questions. How is Izuku alive in this form? What happened in those 7 years? Where has he been? But none of those matter now. Not until she wakes up. The camera lingers on Izuku's still face, the faint rise and fall of her chest, the monitor's steady beeping, and Bakugo's trembling hands wrapped around hers. The hospital room is dim, only the glow of machines keeping the shadows at bay. Bakugo sits slumped in the chair beside the bed, still gripping Izuku's hand even in sleep. The others sit quietly around the room, exhaustion and guilt heavy in their eyes. A faint rustle breaks the silence. Izuku stirs, her fingers twitching slightly. The monitor quickens. Bakugo jerks awake instantly, his red eyes widening. Bakugo, hoarse surgeon. Deku? Her eyelids flutter open, disoriented. Slowly, her green eyes meet the room full of faces. Achiko gasps softly, leaning forward, tears already spilling. Achiko, Izuku, you're awake, thank God. The others crowd closer, relief flooding their expressions. But Izuku's breathing quickens, panic flashing in her eyes. She flinches back, trembling violently, her gaze darting from one familiar face to another. Memories crash down there, shouting, the accusations, the betrayal, the cold feel of the cell. Izuku, shaking, voice breaking, no. Stay away. Please don't. She turns her head sharply away, tears streaming down. Her chest heaves with ragged breaths, panic consuming her like a trapped animal. The group freezes. The joy of her waking is shattered by the sight of her terror. Bakugo's chest twists painfully, guilt like a knife. He stands, but his voice cracks when he speaks. Bakugo, soft, raw Izuku. I'm sorry. Demon, and I am so sorry. We messed up. I messed up. Achiko steps forward, her own voice trembling. Achiko, we should have trusted you. We should have listened. Instead, we treated you like a stranger, like a threat. And we can't undo that, but please, just let us explain. Kirishima, quietly clenching his fists, you didn't deserve any of that. Not from us. But Izuku doesn't look at them. She pulls the blanket higher, curling away, her tears staining the pillow. Her voice is broken and distant. Izuku, whispering, I don't know you. I don't belong to you. I have no family, no friends. I'm just alone. So why? Why did you save me? Her words stab deep into their hearts. The air grows heavy with their regret. Silence lingers until Achiko shakily reaches in her bag, pulling out the weathered journal they had found. Achiko, softly, because of this. Izuku's eyes flicker to it, but she doesn't move. Achiko opens it, her hands trembling as she turns the pages. Achiko, we read your words, your dreams, your memories. The way you saw that school, the blue building, the uniforms, the friends with blurry faces. And the boy you kept seeing, the one who mattered most. She chokes slightly on her next words. Achiko, that boy was you. Todoroki steps closer, his voice steady but low. Todoroki, you're not just some stranger. You're not just Izuku. You're Izuku Midoriya, our classmate, our friend, the one we thought we lost 7 years ago. Kirishima swallows hard, looking down. Kirishima, we've buried an empty coffin. We mourned you. And yet, here you are, alive. Changed but alive. Mina wipes at her eyes, whispering through her tears. Mina, we don't know how, or why, or what you've been through. But you're him. You're Izuku. We can feel it. The words hang in the air. Izu's breath hitches, her tears fresh. She clutches the blanket tighter, her heart pounding, refusing to look at them. Everything inside her screams to deny it, but a flicker of recognition and pain stirs deep in her chest. She shakes her head, whispering, Izu, broken no. I'm not him. I can't be. Her voice cracks as the truth collides with the walls she built to survive. The group can only watch, their guilt and longing bleeding together with her denial. Bakugo finally kneels beside her bed, his voice trembling. Every word raw. Bakugo, hoarse, almost begging. Then why does it hurt so much seeing you like this, huh? Why does my dim chest feel like it's breaking just like it did when I lost you the first time? Tell me that, Deku. Tell me I'm wrong. Izu squeezes her eyes shut, torn between the life she clung to and the truth pressing against her heart. The room falls into heavy silence, broken only by the beeping of the monitor. Izu, soft, unsure. Do you really know me? Do you know who I am? The room grows silent. Then one by one, their gazes soften, filled with warmth, guilt, and relief. Achiko steps forward first, her eyes glistening. Achiko, gentle, of course we do. We've been through everything together, training, battles, victories, failures. You were always with us. Ida, nodding firmly, hand on his chest. Your real name is Izuku Midoriya. You are our classmate, our comrade, our friend. Kirishima, grinning through tears, our Deku, the guy who never gave up, no matter how bad things got. Mina sniffles, waving a hand dramatically. Mina, the crybaby with the biggest heart, always charging in to save people even when it's reckless. Todoroki's voice is quiet, steady, his mismatched eyes locked on her. Todoroki, the one who reminded me what it meant to fight for others. Their voices echo in her ears. Izu's eyes widen, tears welling up uncontrollably. The faces that haunted her dreams blurry, distance suddenly sharpen into reality. Achiko's smile, Kirishima's shark-like grin, Todoroki's calm stare, Mina's bright laugh, and Bakugo's fiery glare that masked something deeper. Her lips part, trembling. Izu, whispering, it's all of you. She shuts her eyes tight, clutching her head as the memories flood back, sparring in the training grounds, cheering after victories, crying together during losses, laughing in the dorms. Her tears spill freely, her body shaking. I choked. I remember. Her voice cracks. She lifts her teary eyes at them, a mix of fear and hope. Izu, desperate, then, tell me. Please tell me everything about me, about who I really am. The group leans closer, their relief breaking into smiles through their tears. Bakugo, still kneeling by her bed, grips her hand tight, his voice hoarse but firm. Bakugo, raw, we will. Every DMN piece of it. You're our Deku and we're not letting you go again. For the first time since waking, Izu lets out a small, trembling smile, her tears still falling. At the agency, days later, Izu walks nervously into their agency, her steps unsure but steady. She sits down on the couch, her green hair shining softly under the lights. She looks shy, almost out of place, but undeniably appealing. The others gather around her, smiles everywhere. Yamamo, cheerful, I brought food for everyone. Let's celebrate properly. She and Ida bring in trays stacked with dishes, meats, rice, bread, desserts. The room fills with the smell of warm food. Mina, teasing grin, plopping beside Izu. You know you're really pretty, Izu. We could totally help you with girly stuff makeup, clothes, everything. Achiko. Giggling, yeah. We'll go shopping. Iza-chan. Trust me, we'll make it fun. Iza blushes, her cheeks pink, and smiles shyly at them. Izu, softly, thank you. I like that. Kirishima, grinning wide, hands her a plate piled with food. Kirishima. Here, you should eat first. You need strength after all you've been through. Izu, smiling warmly. Thank you. Kirishima. She takes the plate politely and begins eating slowly, savoring the warmth of their care. Across the room, Bakugo, Todoroki, and the others watch her quietly. They eat too, but their eyes keep drifting back to Izu. Their expressions are a mix of awe, tenderness, and quiet protectiveness. Todoroki, muttering softly, she really is Midoriya. Bakugo, low, to himself, clenching his chopsticks, and right she is. And this time, we'll protect her. No matter what. The room is filled with the sounds of laughter, chatter, and clinking plates. For the first time in years, it feels whole again with Izu among them. The group finishes eating, laughter slowly fading as everyone heads their separate ways. Izu lingers at the agency's entrance, hugging her small bag close. The night is heavy and the street lamps flicker dimly. No taxi shows up, the road eerily quiet. She hesitates, then sighs, deciding to walk. Headlights suddenly flash behind her. A familiar engine roar echoes. Bakugo's black car screeches to a halt just a few feet away. The window rolls down. Bakugo leans out, his sharp gaze locking on her. Bakugo. Gruff, oi dumbass. What the hell are you walking for at this hour? Get in. I'll take you home. Izu stiffens, clutching her bag tighter. For a moment, she doesn't move. The memories of him yelling, the past pain, it all flashes in her chest. But she also remembers what the others told her, her memories of him starting to stitch together. Slowly, she nods and opens the door, slipping into the passenger seat. The silence is heavy, both of them unsure. Bakugo grips the wheel, eyes forward. Bakugo, clearing throat. You know, you back then you always call me Kakin. Izu blinks, turning her head toward him. Her voice comes out soft, hesitant but pure. Izu K. Kakin. The sound is delicate, almost childlike. Bakugo's hands tighten on the wheel as his ears turn pink. He tries to hide it with a scoff. Bakugo, grumbling, TCH don't say it like that, idiot. You make it sound weird. Izu tilts her head, a small smile, tugging her lips for the first time around him. The tension melts just a little. The car rolls forward into the night. The city lights stretch across the skyline, glittering through the car windows. Izu gazes out quietly, her emerald eyes reflecting the glow of the buildings. The silence isn't uncomfortable this time, it feels fragile like glass. Bakugo keeps stealing glances at her. Her profile is different now, delicate, feminine, but there's something beneath it. The same stubborn spark, the same warmth. His chest tightens. Bakugo's thoughts, gritting teeth, imminent. Why the hell does she look different now? Appealing, graceful, it's pissing me off. He shakes his head violently, eyes back on the road. Suddenly, from the corner of his eye, he notices Izu's head drooping. She's asleep, breathing softly against the window. Bakugo slows the car, pulling over for a second. He stares at her in silence, his heart conflicted. He reaches into the back seat, grabs his coat, and gently drapes it over her shoulders. For a moment, his hand lingers, brushing her arm lightly. Bakugo, soft whisper, almost a vow, I won't screw this up again. Not with you. He exhales sharply, forcing himself back to reality. He grips the wheel again, starting the car. The city lights blur past as he drives, stealing one last glance at the sleeping Izu, her face peaceful, innocent before looking back at the road. Later, the car slows in front of Izu's small apartment complex. The engine hums softly as Bakugo leans over, gently tapping her shoulder. Bakugo, quietly, Oi, wake up, dumbass. We're here. Izu stirs, her emerald eyes fluttering open. She straightens up, realizing she had dozed off. Her cheeks flush with embarrassment as she looks at him. Izu, softly shy, Thank you, Kaken, for bringing me home. Bakugo keeps his gaze forward, his jaw tight, but his tone softer than usual. Bakugo, don't mention it. Pauses. You want me to pick you up tomorrow? Izuku blinks, startled by the offer. She grips her bag straps, looking down. Izuku, hesitant, oh, you don't have to. I'll be fine. I'm applying for a job tomorrow. Bakugo's head jerks toward her, eyes narrowing. Bakugo, a job? What the hell are you talking about? You were always dead set on being a hero. That's who you are. Izuku hesitates, her voice trembling but honest. Izuku, I know, but right now I don't feel strong enough for that. I just need to start small. The coffee shop nearby is hiring. Bakugo stares at her for a long moment, then sighs, running a hand through his hair. Bakugo, TCH fine. Do whatever the hell you want for now. But listen, that quirk you carry, one for all. I'll help you control it. Train you. So when you're ready, you can stop wasting time serving lattes and actually fight again. Izuku looks at him wide-eyed, the mix of familiarity and warmth in his words stirring her chest. Slowly she nods. Izuku, softly. Okay, Kaken. They exchange a long look, silence lingering heavy but meaningful. Finally, Izuku opens the door, stepping out with his coat still draped over her shoulders. She shyly hands it back. Izuku, good night, and thank you again. Bakugo, lo, night, Deku. She slips into her apartment. Bakugo waits in the car for a moment, staring at the building, before driving off into the quiet streets. The next morning, sunlight spills through the cafe windows. The bell jingles as Izuku steps in, wearing the neat uniform given to her. She looks nervous but determined as the manager gives her a short briefing. Soon, her shift begins. Customers line up, many double-taking at her appearance. With her green hair tied neatly and her gentle smile, she stands out naturally. Her voice is soft, kind, making people feel welcome. Customer 1, grinning. Wow, you're new here, right? You got the perfect vibe for this place. Customer 2, to his friend, she's cute, bet the line's going to be longer from now on. Izuku flushes red, trying to stay focused while handing out orders. Behind the counter, her 3 coworkers watch, giggling among themselves. Coworker 1, smiling, geez, Midoriya-san, you're already drawing in half the customers. Coworker 2, teasing, you sure you've never done cafe work before? You're a natural. Coworker 3, sincerely, and you're honestly really pretty. Don't be surprised if people start coming here just to see you. Izuku stammers, pressing her hands together nervously, her face flushed. Izuku, oh no, it's not like that. I'm just trying my best. The coworkers chuckle warmly, clearly fond of her already. Izuku glances at the busy cafe, at the customers smiling as they sip their drinks, and something in her chest feels lighter. For the first time in a long while, she feels like she belongs somewhere. The agency. The glass doors of Bakugo's agency slide open with a soft hiss. Izuku steps inside, her coffee shop apron folded neatly into her bag. She looks around nervously, clutching her strap. The agency's lounge is lively, voices bouncing, heroes chatting. Achiko is the first to notice her. Achiko, brightly, Izuku, you came. Everyone turns their heads. Kirishima grins and waves. Kaminari give the thumbs up. Mina rushes over excitedly, while Mineta and Aoyama peek dramatically from the side. Mina, teasing, I'll look at you all shy again. Come on, don't be so stiff. Kirishima, yeah, you don't have to be nervous. Your family here. Kaminari, totally. Mikasa, Tsukasa. Izuku offers a small, timid smile. She lowers her gaze, walking over to sit on the couch. Her hands fold neatly in her lap, as if she doesn't know what else to do. Izuku, softly, thank you. I just don't want to be a bother. Achiko, giggling, a bother? No way. You should make yourself at home. You're one of us. Izuku. Izuku hesitates, eyes softening. She tugs at her sleeve, nervously. Izuku, quietly, where's Kaken? And the others? Achiko blinks, then covers her mouth, laughing. Achiko, teasing, oh, so you call him Kaken now, huh? That's cute. Izuku flushes pink, looking away. Mina and Kaminari exchange mischievous grins. Achiko, they're outright Nabucco, Todoroki, Ida, Shinso, Siro, they all went on a mission with Best Jeanist and Endeavor. But don't worry, they'll be back soon. Izuku nods, hugging her bag tighter, still feeling the quiet awkwardness of being in a place filled with people she doesn't quite remember, but who remember her. Time passes. Izuku sits in silence on the couch, watching the others chat and move around. Eventually, out of quiet boredom, she pulls a small comb from her bag and begins braiding her hair delicately. The way her fingers move is elegant, almost natural despite her shy posture. Yamamoto notices first, walking closer with a soft smile. Yamamoto, warmly, my Midoriya-san, you look so graceful like that. It really suits you. Izuku's cheeks tint red, but she gives a small, genuine smile. Izuku, bashfully, thank you, Yamamoto. Jairu, leaning against the wall with her ear jacks swaying, approaches holding a sleek black case. Jairu, hey. So, we thought you might need this. Had some help too, of course. She places the case in front of Izuku. The others gather curiously. Izuku blinks, staring at the case as if afraid to open it. Izuku, hesitant, for me? Jairu, smirking, yeah. It's your hero costume. We figured you'd want to see it. Izuku's fingers tremble as she opens the case slowly. Inside is a carefully designed outfit, sleek, modern, and feminine, but still echoing her old costume from years ago. Her breath catches as she brushes her hand over the fabric. Izuku, softly, this is mine? Before anyone can answer, the front doors slide open again. Heavy footsteps echo across the floor as Bakugo, Todoroki, Ida, Shinso, Tokoyami, and Siro step inside, fresh from their mission. Their suits are scuffed, but their presence fills the room. Bakugo, gruff, scanning the room, oi. His gaze locks instantly onto Izuku, sitting with the case. For a moment, silence settles. Todoroki sets down his gear, watching her with quiet curiosity. Ida straightens his glasses, Tokoyami bows slightly, and Shinso tilts his head with a faint smirk. Siro, grinning, well, look who's here. Bakugo, soft under his breath, Deku. Izuku looks up at them, still clutching the hero costume case. Her lips part as if to speak, but no words come out. Instead, her eyes glimmer caught between fear, shyness, and a flicker of recognition. Bakugo drops his gear bag to the side, his sharp eyes softening slightly when they land on Izuku. He notices the faint fatigue in her posture and the way her hands fidget nervously with the edge of the hero costume case. Bakugo, quiet but firm. Oi, Deku, you eaten yet? Izuku shakes her head softly, not meeting his eyes. Izuku, shy, barely above a whisper, no. Bakugo clicks his tongue, digging into his wallet. He hands a stack of bills to Yamamoto. Bakugo, order food. Enough for everyone. Good stuff, not cheap CRP. Yamamoto, smiling gently, of course. Izuku sits back down on the couch, holding herself small. Todoroki walks over silently and sits beside her, not too close, but close enough for her to notice his calm presence. Todoroki, quietly, are you all right? Izuku blinks, glancing at him. Her voice is shy, wavering. Izuku, I still feel uncomfortable. Todoroki tilts his head slightly, then lets out a small chuckle, not mocking, but gentle. Todoroki, you don't have to be. We've been friends for a long time. Izuku. Izuku lowers her gaze, clutching the hem of her skirt tightly. Izuku, softly, but as long as I don't remember anything about myself or about all of you, I can't feel comfortable. It's like I'm a stranger here. Todoroki's eyes soften, his tone calm and reassuring. Todoroki, that's fine. Even if you don't remember, we still do. We'll wait until you feel like we're not strangers anymore. No need to force it. Izuku looks at him, caught off guard by his patience. She gives a small, shy nod. After a short while, the DLVRY arrives. The smell of warm food fills the lounge as Yamamoto organizes the takeout boxes on the table. Everyone gathers quickly, chatting and teasing as they serve themselves. Izuku, however, quietly takes her plate and retreats to the far end of the couch, sitting in the corner as she picks at her food. Her posture is hesitant, as though she doesn't want to take up space. Achiko notices and waves her hand enthusiastically. Achiko, calling Izu, come sit with us at the table. Izu stiffens, looking down. Izu, murmuring, it's fine. I'm okay here. Mina gasps dramatically, putting her hands on her hips. Mina, no way. No hiding in corners, you're eating with us. Kaminari, grinning, yeah. Heroes stick together. Come on, you'll feel way better if you're in the middle of the noise. Before Izu can protest, Mina and Kaminari walk over and gently but playfully tug her up from the couch. Izu's face heats up, flustered, but she doesn't resist too much. Izu, softly, wait. I don't. Mina, cheerful, no excuses. They lead her to the long table where everyone else is already seated. The chatter is loud, laughter echoing, but not overwhelming. It feels warm, like home. Izu sits between Mina and Achiko, still shy, but the atmosphere slowly softens her stiffness. She takes a small bite of food, glancing around at everyone smiling, bickering, and eating together. For the first time since she arrived, she feels the faint warmth of belonging. Kirishima, grinning, see? Feels better, right? Izu shyly nods, her voice quiet but sincere. Izu, yeah. Everyone is halfway through their meal, laughter echoing across the table. Yamamo turns toward Izu, her expression gentle but curious. Yamamo, Izu, may I ask, what are your hobbies now? And are you working anywhere? Izu lowers her chopsticks shyly, fiddling with them as she answers softly. Izu, I work at a coffee shop now, and I write stories in my journal under the name Izu. Jairu, sipping her drink, pauses and slowly lowers the glass. Her eyes widen. Jairu, wait. Don't tell me. You're the one who wrote Hero's Heart? Izu freezes, cheeks heating. She gives a small, hesitant nod. Izu, softly, why yeah, that was me. The whole table gasps in shock, Mina almost dropping her fork. Mina, what? You're that Izu, the one who wrote those books that went viral. Achiko, grinning wide, I knew it. Your writing felt familiar somehow. Kirishima leans forward, eyes sparkling with admiration. Kirishima, that's manly as hell. Izu, but you said you're working a coffee shop too? Are you sure you're okay with that? Doesn't sound easy. Izu nods shyly, tucking a strand of hair behind her ear. Izu, it's fine. I like it there. But sometimes customers, mostly men, ask for my number or ask me out. The table falls silent for a moment before Achiko slams her hand down, eyes blazing. Achiko, absolutely not. Don't you dare give your number to strangers, especially random guys. Izu blinks at her protectiveness, then gives a small nod. Izu softly, oh, I won't. The boys shift uncomfortably, exchanging glances. Bakugo clicks his tongue, leaning back in his chair with a scowl. Bakugo, gruffly, Tsh, idiots think they can just walk up to you like that? Don't entertain him, Deku. Kirishima, yeah, you should at least let us pick you up. We can SCRT you home. Kaminari, for real, I could swing by after class or something. Tokoyami, it would be unwise to leave yourself vulnerable in such situations. One by one, almost all the boys chime in with their own offers of protection, their concern clear. Izu's cheeks burn as she waves her hands nervously. Izu, flustered, it's okay. Really, I can manage on my own. You don't all need to CRT me. Bakugo narrows his eyes, not fully convinced. His protective instinct stirs, but he doesn't press further for now. After the meal, Bakugo gestures to Izu with a JRK of his head. She follows him up the stairs, and soon they step onto the rooftop. The night air is cool, the city lights glowing softly below. Bakugo cracks his knuckles. Bakugo, all right, Deku, time to work on that quirk. You're still treating it like a burden, not your own power. Izu swallows nervously, her hands trembling slightly. Izu, I keep failing, Kakin. I don't know how to start. Bakugo folds his arms, then smirks as an idea sparks. Bakugo, think of yourself like a microwave. Izu blinks, confused. Izu, tilting her head, a microwave? Bakugo, yeah. To use one for all, you heat yourself from the inside, let the power circulate, then release it. Don't just push, it has to flow. Izu bites her lip, then nods determinedly. She closes her eyes, focusing. Slowly, faint sparks of green lightning begin to dance along her arms. Izu soft gasp, it's working. Bakugo smirks, proud, but try not to show it too much. Bakugo, good. Now use it. Don't just stand there. Jump. Izu hesitates, then pushes off the ground. With a burst of speed and green sparks, she leaps, landing gracefully on the opposite side of the rooftop. She continues jumping across the floor, up the walls, and along the rails. Her movements are quick but elegant, almost like a dancer. Bakugo stands frozen for a moment, his eyes wide. In his mind, she's not just powerful, she's appealing in motion, graceful in a way that surprises him. Izu lands in front of him, a little breathless, her cheeks flushed. She looks down shyly. Izu, quietly, did I do okay? Bakugo exhales sharply through his nose, a small smirk tugging at his lips. Bakugo, HN, more than okay. You're a quick DMN learner. We'll go harder tomorrow. Izu nods softly, a small smile tugging at her lips. For the first time in a while, she feels a flicker of pride in herself. Izu stood near the entrance of the agency, her small hand waving a shy goodbye to everyone inside. Her steps were light, almost hesitant, as she disappeared into the night street. Achiko's smile instantly dropped, replaced with a sharp glare. She turned toward the boys still sitting at the table. Achiko, sternly, are you seriously just going to let her go home alone at this hour? Mina, hands on hips, for real. Someone has to step up and walk her home. The boys shifted awkwardly, scratching their heads. Just then, Bakugo's phone buzzed loudly. He checked it, his jaw clenching. Todoroki and Tokoyami's phones vibrated almost at the same time. Bakugo, gritting teeth, DM it. It's Genist. Emergency call. Todoroki, reading his message, Endeavor needs me as well. Tokoyami, Hawks is requesting backup. We can't delay. The girl's glare sharpened. Achiko crossed her arms with a pout. Achiko, fine. Then someone else goes after her. Mina's eyes swept the room and landed on Kirishima and Shinso. She pointed at them like a commander giving orders. Mina, you too. Go. No excuses. Kirishima chuckled, rubbing the back of his neck. Kirishima, all right. Can't leave a friend like that. Shinso sighed but pushed himself up, already heading for the door. His tone was calm, but his eyes were serious. Shinso, I'll go. It's not safe for her alone. Kirishima jogged after him with a grin. They caught up quickly, spotting Izu just down the block. She turned, startled, when she heard footsteps. Izu, blinking wide, Kirishima? Shinso? Kirishima gave her a reassuring smile, hands in his pockets. Kirishima, don't look so surprised. We're here to walk you home. Shinso nodded slightly, his gaze steady on her. Shinso, it's late. Better safe than sorry. Izu's cheeks warmed as she tucked her hair behind her ear, looking down shyly. She gave a small nod, slowing her steps so they could walk beside her. Izu, softly, thank you. The three walked down the dimly lit street. The night was quiet except for the sound of passing cars and their footsteps. For a while, no one spoke. Kirishima finally broke the silence with his usual bright energy. Kirishima, so, Izu, where do you live anyway? Izu glanced at him, then gave her address softly. Izu, nervously, it's in the East District, near the flower market. Shinso raised a brow, glancing toward her. Shinso, that's pretty far from here. Izu nodded, clutching the strap of her bag tighter. Izu, that's why I usually take the bus, a taxi, or sometimes the train. Kirishima frowned thoughtfully. Kirishima, that's a long way for you to be going home alone every day. Izu smiled faintly, trying to brush it off. Izu, I don't mind. I'm used to it. They reached a busier street, where taxis were lined up. Shinso stepped forward and raised a hand, flagging one down effortlessly. The cab slowed and pulled over. Izu turned to the two boys, bowing her head slightly. Izu, shyly, thank you for walking with me. Really? Kirishima grinned wide, giving her a thumbs up. Kirishima, anytime. That's what friends are for. Shinso gave a small nod, his eyes lingering on her as she opened the cab door. Shinso, just stay careful. You attract more trouble than you realize. Izu blinked at him, surprised by his quiet concern. Then she smiled softly, her heart strangely warm. Izu, I will. Good night. The taxi door closed, and the car slowly pulled away. Kirishima shoved his hands in his pockets, watching the taillights fade down the road. Kirishima, grinning, she's tougher than she looks. Shinso, quietly, almost himself, yeah, but still fragile. The two stood there in silence for a moment longer before turning back toward the agency. Night. Izu sat at her small desk, the soft yellow glow of a lamp spilling over her journal. Her handwriting was delicate, curling words across the page. Izu, writing in her journal today, I spent time with him again. I'm still shy, still unsure, but every moment with them feels warmer. Maybe tomorrow, I'll learn more about myself and about them. It feels like something new is waiting for me. She smiled faintly at her own words, then gently closed the journal. With a small sigh of contentment, she slid under her blankets, letting sleep pull her into its quiet embrace. Meanwhile, in the cold streets of the city, Bakugo, Todoroki, and Tokoyami chased down chaos. A masked villain, his arms twisting into writhing tentacles, leapt across shattered cars near the bank. Bakugo, shouting, "You picked the wrong night, octopus freak!" His palms exploded with fire and smoke, propelling him forward. Todoroki followed, ice spreading across the ground, freezing half the road to trap the villain's movements. Tokoyami's dark shadow surged out, roaring as it blocked the villain's escape route. Tentacle villain, snarling, "You'll never catch me." One tentacle whipped toward Todoroki, but Bakugo blasted it apart midair, the explosion lighting up the night. He smirked fiercely, sweat gleaming under the streetlights. Bakugo, quit flailing around, dumbass. You're done. Todoroki moved with calm precision, raising his hand. A wave of ice surged up, sealing the villain's legs. Tokoyami's dark shadow wrapped around his arms, restraining him tightly. Tokoyami, the night is not yours to rule. The villain roared, thrashing, but Bakugo strode closer, his hand sparking. Bakugo, growling, "One last move, and you're going to regret it." The villain froze, realizing escape was impossible. Sirens wailed in the distance as backup approached. The three heroes stood tall, the city lights reflecting off them like guardians of the night. Morning. The sunlight streamed through the windows of a bustling coffee shop. The aroma of roasted beans and fresh pastries filled the air. Izu wore her neat uniform, moving quietly behind the counter, her shy smile offering comfort to customers. The bell chimed repeatedly as customers entered, chatting and placing their orders. Izu jotted notes, prepared cups, and carried trays with graceful care. She still avoided too much eye contact, but her soft presence warmed the atmosphere. Her manager called her name, handing her a tied-up bag. "Manager, Midoriya, trash duty. Take it out back." Izu, softly, "Why yes, ma'am." She carried the bag outside, the cool morning breeze brushing against her. After tossing into the bin, she leaned back against the wall with a quiet sigh, stretching her arms. Her eyes drifted upward and froze. On a massive billboard towering above the street, the faces of Bakugo and Todoroki stared back at her. They stood side by side in sharp suits, wearing sleek watches that gleamed under the city lights. The advertisement was bold, commanding, and proud. Izu's lips curved into a small, gentle smile. Her heart tightened, but not painfully more, like a spark of pride. Izu, whispering, "They really are amazing." She tucked a strand of hair behind her ear, her cheeks tinged pink. With renewed energy, she turned and walked back inside, ready to continue her shift. After work. Afternoon. Izu walked down the lively street, the afternoon sunlight brushing against her face. She held her new dress in a paper bag, hugging it close like a small treasure, her black shoulder bag slung neatly at her side. For the first time in weeks, Her smile was pure and light-hearted. But the street shifted as she neared an alleyway. For men sat in the shadows, smoking. Their eyes darted to her instantly, sly grins spreading. Man 1. Whistles. Well, look at this cutie. Man 2. Carrying bags like that. You shopping for us, princess? Man 3. Stands, blocking her path. Don't be shy. Let's have a little fun. Izuku stiffened, her steps faltering. She lowered her head, tried to walk past quietly, but their shadows surrounded her. One leaned in, breathing against her hair, while another brushed his hand along her arm. Izuku, voice trembling, don't touch me. Please just go away. They only laughed, circling her closer. Her hand shook as she clutched her bag, her breath quickening. Man 1. Smirks, you smelled like candy. I like it. Man 2. Lick his teeth, so appealing. Man 4. Dark grin, come with us, pretty thing. We'll take good care of you. Izuku's chest tightened, panic rising. Her body trembled so violently she could barely breathe. She tried to pull away, tears forming in her eyes, but their grips only tightened. Meanwhile, down the same street, Bakugo and Todoroki walked side by side, discussing their earlier mission. Bakugo, gritting his teeth, dim-in thief, nearly got away. Next time I'll blow his, but sky high. Todoroki, calm, you were reckless again. Genist wasn't pleased. A faint sound cut through their talk. A scream. Sharp. Desperate. Both froze instantly. Bakugo's eyes snapped toward the alley. Todoroki's breath hitched as recognition dawned. Todoroki, that voice. Bakugo, eyes widening, furious. Deku. Without another word, they sprinted. The sight that met them made BLD PND in their ears. Their Izuku dragged toward the darkness, tears streaming as she screamed for help. The men's laughter echoed cruelly. Bakugo, roaring, let her go, you BSDRDS. Todoroki, I see tone, get off. The men jerked their heads up too late. Bakugo's fist collided with the first man, blasting him back against the wall. Another swung at him, but Bakugo ducked and drove his knee into the guy's stomach before exploding him into the ground. Todoroki's ice surged across the alley, trapping two more by their legs. They snarled and thrashed, but his cold glare froze them in place just as surely as his quirk did. One broke free. Lunging, Todoroki met him with a swift strike of fire to the chest, sending him reeling into the wall. The fight was brutal, but short. Bakugo and Todoroki's anger fueled every blow until the four men were groaning on the ground, scrambling to escape with bloodied faces and bruised ribs. They ran limping out of the alley, defeated and humiliated. Silence fell. Izuku stood frozen, tears streaming, her chest heaving from the panic. Her bag and dress lay crumpled on the ground. Izuku, shaking Kakin, Todoroki. Before she could crumble, Bakugo was already there. He grabbed her, pulling her tightly into his chest. Bakugo, voice rough but steady, you're safe now. I'm here. No one's ever going to touch you again while I'm alive. Izuku's body broke. She clutched him back desperately, sobbing into his shirt as her knees gave way. Bakugo held her up, one arm steady around her waist, the other patting her hair with surprising gentleness. Izuku, muffled through tears, I was so scared. I thought, Bakugo, firmly you don't have to think about it. Not anymore. Todoroki stood close, his eyes filled with concern. He crouched down, picking up her dropped dress carefully, dusting it off before holding it for her. Todoroki, softly, you're safe, Izuku. We won't let this happen again. Ever. The sound of her crying echoed against the alley walls, but within Bakugo's arms and Todoroki's steady gaze, she wasn't alone anymore. For the first time since her return, her fragile world felt shielded. At the agency's meeting room was unusually heavy with silence. Izuku sat on the couch, her hands trembling as she clutched the hem of her dress bag. Her eyes were red and teary, though she tried hard not to cry again. Bakugo stood before everyone, his fists clenched, retelling the incident with a sharp, venomous voice. Bakugo, growling, for Demon Lowlifes cornered her, dragged her into an alley. If me and Todoroki weren't there, his fist slams the wall. Don't even want to think about it. The others stiffened in anger. Achiko covered her mouth, horrified. Kirishima's jaw clenched tight, his usual cheerful energy replaced with fury. Kaminari's eyes widened, disbelief all over his face. Mina balled her fists, trying not to cry. Mina, voice shaking, I knew it. I just knew something like this could happen. That's why I said one of us should have escorted her home. She's still vulnerable, still. Eyes softly. I said I didn't need it. I didn't want to bother any of you. Achiko, kneeling by Izuku, holding her hands. Izuku, listen to me, this isn't a bother. You're our friend. You're important to us. You can't take risks like that. Not now. Ida, firm, his hand chopping the air. Uraraka is correct. You are still regaining your memory, and your quirk remains unrefined. This leaves you at a disadvantage. We cannot, must not, allow you to travel alone. Kirishima, angry but gentle to her. You're way too precious to be put in danger like that. We won't let those scumbags or anyone lay a finger on you again. Mina, tearful but trying to smile. You don't have to act strong all the time, Izu. Lean on us. Please. Iza bit her lip, her eyes lowering. The warmth in their words is both comforted and hurt. She didn't want to be a burden, but the fear from earlier still clung to her chest. Iza quietly, okay. I understand. I'll let you protect me. Just for now. Relief washed over the group. Achiko hugged her tightly, while Kaminari muttered curses about the men who dared to touch her. Even Mineta, for once, was silent, trembling with outrage. Behind them all, Todoroki stood quietly, eyes fixed on Izuku. Protective, watching. Later that evening, the group had dispersed to calmer conversation, but Izuku still sat beside Bakugo. She glanced at him nervously. Izuku, hesitant. What about our training tonight? You promised we'd work on my stance. Bakugo crossed his arms, scowling. Bakugo, TCH, forget training. Not after what happened today. You need rest. That's final. Izuku, small nod. Okay. His eyes softened only slightly, but his voice sharpened again as he addressed the group. Bakugo, from now on, I'll be the one taking her home. If I'm busy, Todoroki, Kirishima, Ida, or Siro. No one else. Got it? Everyone nodded firmly. Izuku's head lowered again. She hated feeling weak, but she could see their determination and worry. It left her no choice but to accept. Izuku, soft, guilty tone. Thank you. I'll trust you guys. Todoroki stepped forward, calm but firm. He took Izuku's bag from her hands with a quiet gentleness. Todoroki, I'll take her tonight. He opened the agency doors, waiting for her. Izuku rose slowly, clutching her dress bag and bowing her head at the others before following him. The group stood in silence, watching them leave. Kirishima muttered under his breath. Kirishima, low. She doesn't deserve this kind of fear. Achiko, clutching her chest, she's trying so hard to smile. But I know she's still shaking inside. Ida, firm. Then it falls on us to shield her until she regains her strength. The car door closed. Todoroki drove off into the night with Izuku quiet beside him, and the agency remained dim, filled with concern that wouldn't fade easily. The car pulled up quietly in front of Izuku's small apartment building. The night was still, only the hum of the street lights echoing faintly. Todoroki parked and turned his head slightly, noticing Izuku wiping at her face. Her shoulders trembled. Tears slipped down despite her, trying to hold them back. Todoroki, softly, you're crying again. Izuku quickly looked away, embarrassed, clutching the paper bag with her new dress tightly. But Todoroki leaned closer, his usually cold hand surprisingly warm as he gently brushed her tears away with his thumb. Izuku, startled, eyes widening, Todoroki. Todoroki, quiet, steady, don't hide it. You've been through enough. It's okay to let yourself feel. Izuku's lips parted slightly. His calmness melted the fear inside her, and she nodded, her watery eyes softening. Izuku, whispering, I keep wishing I remembered who I really am. Why I used to be to all of you. It feels like I'm missing half of myself. Todoroki, gently, you're not weak. You're recovering. Memories don't vanish forever, they come back, piece by piece. And when they do, you'll remember everything. Us. Them. Yourself. Izuku smiled faintly at his words, a glimmer of hope returning. He stepped out of the car, then walked around to open her door like a gentleman. She stepped out slowly, still holding her bag. Before she could say anything, she glanced up at him. I'm hesitant. Would you like to come in? I can make you coffee. Todoroki, shaking his head softly. Not tonight. My sister, she's waiting for me at home. Izuku nodded, understanding, but her curiosity sparked. Izuku, quietly, do you have siblings? Todoroki, nodding. 3. I have 2 older brothers and an older sister. I'm a younger brother. Izuku, small smile. That's nice. I wish I had a family like that. Todoroki's expression softened, almost pained, as he looked at her. Todoroki, calmly, you do. You have a mother. Her name is Inko. Izuku froze, her eyes widening, her heart thudding in her chest. Izuku, shaking. I have a mother. Todoroki, nodding slowly, and a mentor. All Might. He's someone very important to you. Izuku's tears welled up again, but these were different tears of wonder, of longing. She covered her mouth, her breath shaky. Izuku, softly desperate. I want to meet her. Please. I need to. Todoroki hesitated, his brows furrowing. His protective side took over. Todoroki, not yet. If you don't remember, it might feel overwhelming. Awkward. Painful even. Izuku's hopeful eyes dimmed. She looked down, her voice trembling. Izuku, sadly so. I really can't. Todoroki sighed softly, his hand brushing her shoulder comfortingly. After a pause, he spoke, his voice quiet but certain. Todoroki, gently, all right, tomorrow. I'll take you to see her, and All Might. Izuku gasped, lifting her head in disbelief. Her teary eyes lit up, glowing with happiness. Izuku, overjoyed, really? Without thinking, she threw her arms around him tightly. Todoroki froze for a moment, then slowly wrapped his arms around her, holding her with surprising warmth. Izuku, tearful smile. Thank you, Todoroki. Todoroki, softly, almost whispering, you're welcome. They pulled back. Todoroki gave a small nod before stepping back toward the car. Todoroki, rest now. You'll need strength for tomorrow. Izuku, nodding, smiling warmly. Good night, Todoroki. She entered her apartment with a brighter heart than she'd had in days. Closing the door gently, she leaned against it, clutching her dress bag, smiling through her tears. For the first time, she felt like she was getting closer to her true self. The night was heavy, the moonlight barely touching Izuku's sleeping face. In her dreams, a familiar presence stirred like a whisper carried by the wind. Suddenly, a figure appeared before her, herself, but not as the girl she was now. It was Izuku Midoriya, the boy she once was, strong yet trembling, carrying the weight of the world in his heart. Izuku, dream self, gentle, echoing, you forgot, but I'm still here. We're still the same. Izuku blinked, stunned as the world around them shifted into glowing fragments of memory. She saw flashes, her mother Inko holding her tightly as a child, Bakugo shouting at her to never give up, All Might's proud eyes as he handed over one for all. Izuku, whispering, This is me? Izuku, dream self, smiling softly, you're a hero. The one who stood up, even when afraid. The one who carried strength, but never lost kindness. You're the courage that gave people hope. That's who you are. The fragments around her glowed, brighter memories of UA. Laughter in Class 1A, the unbreakable bonds of friendship, victories and failures shared. She saw Kirishima's grin, Achiko's encouragement, Todoroki's quiet support, and Bakugo's fierce rivalry that turned into something more. Izuku, dream self, firmly, friendship that never let go. From the moment we stepped into UA. That's our bond. That's our strength. The dream flickered, shifting into Battle Zeri's tiny hands clutching her cloak, Koda calling out with admiration. Then, enemies. Overhaul's twisted form, Muscular's brutal fists, Shigaraki's decay spreading across the battlefield. Izuku, dream self, resolute, we stood against all of them. We protected. We endured. Because that's what it means to be the next symbol of peace. Izuku felt her chest ache, tears welling as the truth struck her heart. Izuku, teary-eyed, I'm not just lost. I'm a hero. Izuku, dream self, warmly, you always were. Now remember, live it again. They're waiting for you. The dream began to fade, Izuku smiling at her like a reflection in the water, before disappearing into light. Izuku gasped awake, clutching her chest as if her heart was burning with something fierce and alive. Sweat dotted her forehead, her eyes wide yet shining. Izuku, breathless, I remember. Her hands trembled as the flood of memories played again in her mind, her mother's voice calling her name, All Might's words of trust, her classmates' laughter and tears, the feeling of victory and loss, the power of one for all burning in her veins. She sat up on the bed, tears rolling freely now. But these were not tears of sorrow, they were of relief, of rediscovery. She whispered to herself, voice shaky but filled with determination. Izuku, smiling through tears, I'm Izuku Midoriya. Deku, the hero who never gives up, the next symbol of peace. Her hands clenched into fists, her eyes glowing with new light. She laughed softly through her tears, her heart racing with excitement and longing. Izuku, whispering determined, tomorrow, I'll face them. I'll tell them everything. I'll stand as myself again, with them. She lay back down slowly, but this time with a smile. The weight that once dragged her down was gone. The fire inside her burned again. And for the first time in so long, Izuku slept peacefully, ready for the dawn of a new chapter. The quiet of the morning filled Inko's small home. She stirred a pot absent-mindedly, her hands pale and trembling with the same loneliness that had lived in her chest for years. All Might, thin and frail, sat at the table sipping tea, his silence heavy as his eyes drifted toward the photograph of Izuku on the wall. Knock, knock. Both startled, Inko wiped her hands and walked to the door, her heart expecting the familiar faces of Mitsuki and Masaru, who often checked in on her. She pulled the door open. Standing there was a young woman, green hair, shining softly in the sunlight, freckles dusting her cheeks, eyes bright like polished emeralds. Tears brimmed in the girl's eyes. Inko, blinking confused, oh, hello? Who are you? Izuku, voice trembling teary, it's me, Mom. Izuku Midoriya, your son. Inko froze. Her world cracked. The air left her lungs. Inko, shaking her head, whispering, no, my boy, he's gone. He's been gone for 7 years. Izuku, desperate, voice cracking, no, I'm here. I'm right here. Inko's eyes scanned her green hair, freckles, the same eyes she kissed good night 1,000 times. Her lips trembled. Inko, shaking, tears falling. Izuku, my baby? Izuku nodded, tears streaming. Izuku, sobbing softly, yes, it's me. I don't look the same because of One for All. It gave me another chance at life, but in exchange, my body changed. I've been lost all these years, without memories. But now, I remember everything, Mom. Everything. And I'm so sorry I made you cry for so long. Inko's knees nearly buckled as tears poured down her cheeks. She let out a cry of disbelief and joy as she lunged forward, pulling Izuku into her trembling arms. Inko, sobbing, my baby, you came back. You came back to me. Izuku cried, I am here, Mom. Izuku clutched her tightly, burying her face into her mother's shoulder, both crying in each other's arms. All Might had stood slowly when he heard the voices. His cup rattled as it fell from his shaking hand. When Izuku stepped into the room with Inko holding her hand, he froze, his eyes wide with shock. All Might, hoarse, trembling. Young Midoriya? Izuku smiled through tears, nodding softly. Izuku's voice, breaking. I'm back, All Might. I'm back, and I'm not going anywhere anymore. All Might's eyes filled with tears. He covered his mouth with his thin hand, his shoulders shaking violently. The symbol of peace now broken, but still strong, fell to his knees in raw relief. All Might, weeping, you're alive. After all this time, you're alive. Inko and Izuku help him up. The three of them sat together at the table, tears falling freely but smiles beginning to break through the pain. Breakfast was served, but none of them cared much for the food. It was the warmth of being together again that filled them. Inko, holding Izu's hand tightly. You came back to me. That's all I ever prayed for, every single night. Izu, smiling teary, and I'll never leave you again. You're my mom, my everything. All Might, wiping his eyes, voice firm despite cracking. And you're still my successor, my proudest student. The boy no, the hero who carries one for all with honor. Izu laughed softly through her tears, leaning against both of them. Izu, whispering, I missed you so much. For the first time in 7 years, Inko and All Might felt whole again. Breakfast became laughter, memories, and tears, the kind that healed instead of broke. The kind that meant family was reunited. Bakugo's agency. Inside Bakugo's agency, the air was tense. Bakugo sat at his desk, arms crossed, paperwork scattered but ignored. Kirishima and Kaminari were busy filing reports, Mina and Jiru handling calls, while Todoroki entered suddenly, his face calm but edged with worry. Todoroki, firm but worried. Have any of you seen Izu today? She wasn't at her apartment, and not at the cafe either. The room went silent. Everyone turned, concern filling their eyes. Mina's cheerful energy faltered. Kirishima frowned deeply, and Kaminari rubbed the back of his neck nervously. Kirishima, uneasy. Wait, she's missing? Mina, biting her lip. That's not like her. Jiru, concerned. Did something happen to her? The thought of Izu disappearing again after years of pain hung heavy. Todoroki's lips pressed into a line. Bakugo stood abruptly, slamming his palms onto the desk. Bakugo, sharp, worried, stop sitting around. Track her down. If she's not home, not at the cafe, something's off. Kirishima, Kaminari, and Mina exchanged anxious glances, already reaching for their phones, thinking about places she might go. Mina's voice cracked. Mina, quietly. What if she's gone again? Everyone froze, the words too heavy, too familiar. Bakugo's eyes darkened, anger and fear swirling together. He clenched his fists, his voice trembling under his usual fiery tone. Bakugo, growling, she's not gone. I won't let her be gone. The agency filled with an uneasy silence, hearts pounding as they waited for something, anything. Suddenly click. The sound of steps echoed through the agency hall. Everyone's head snapped toward the door. It opened slowly. Standing there was Izu, green hair, flowing, emerald eyes glowing with life. But this time, she was dressed in her hero costume, the same one her friends had crafted with love, sleek and bold, hugging her frame with strength and grace. The sight was breathtaking. The room went silent. Mouths dropped. Faces burned red. Even Bakugo's eyes widened in stunned disbelief. Mina, gasping, hint her mouth, no way. You're wearing it. You finally. Izu smiled warmly, a soft chuckle slipping out, her voice no longer fragile, but strong, filled with certainty. Izu, gentle, proud. I miss this. I miss being me. The way she spoke, the confidence, the tone, everyone froze, their hearts racing. Kaminari, whispering, trembling, wait, that's Izuku? Izu, nodding, tears glimmering, yes. I remember now. All of it. My friends. My family. My dream. I am Izuku Midoriya, All Might's successor, and your classmate. The weight of her words shattered the tension. Tears rushed down Mina's face. Kirishima clenched his fists, grinning through watery eyes. Kaminari laughed in disbelief, wiping his face. Todoroki exhaled softly, relief washing over him. And Bakugo, he didn't move at first. His eyes stayed locked on her, jaw tight, fists trembling. Then slowly, he stood, his lips curling into a smirk even as his eyes betrayed the tears brimming there. Bakugo, gruff, voice shaking, "Tsh, took you long enough, nerd." Izu chuckled through her own tears, and suddenly, Mina dashed forward, hugging her tight. Then Kirishima, Kaminari, and Jiru followed, piling into a tearful group embrace. Todoroki stepped closer, placing a steady hand on her shoulder. Even Bakugo, after a long pause, walked forward and pulled her into his arms, gripping her as if he'd never let go. Izuku, voice breaking but smiling, "I'm home, everyone. I'm finally home." The agency echoed with laughter, cries, and the overwhelming warmth of reunion. Their missing piece returned at last. The agency was still buzzing from Izuku's revelation when a loud alarm blared through the building. A red warning light flashed across the walls. Everyone froze for a split second before the announcement crackled over the speakers. Dispatch voice. Villain attack reported. Marketplace District. Requesting immediate hero response. The tension shifted instantly into focus. Bakugo stood first, fire sparking from his palms, his eyes blazing. Bakugo, smirking sharp, finally time for action. Todoroki stood beside him, calm but with a rare smirk tugging at his lips. Then, without hesitation, Izuku stepped forward, determination burning in her emerald eyes. She clenched her fists, black whip sparking at her arms. Izuku, firm, confident. "Let's go. Heroes don't make people wait." With that, she launched forward, black whip coiling like wings as she leapt out of the window, her body soaring across the skyline, flying with unmatched speed and grace. The wind blew her hair back as she blazed through the city. Behind her, Bakugo and Todoroki exchanged looks, both smirking proudly. Todoroki, low, steady, "She's back." Bakugo, grinning wide, fire sparking, "Right. Our Deku's back." They blasted off right after her, the three musketeers reunited in motion. The crowd below at the marketplace gasped as the trio descended like meteors. The villain, a hulking brute with a mutation quirk rampaging through stalls, froze when he saw the emerald flash land in front of him. Villain, growling, "Who the hell dash?" Izuku didn't wait. With elegant precision, she swung her black whip, wrapping the villain's arms tight and yanking him off balance. The ground cracked under his stumble. Bakugo shot forward next, explosions blasting the villain across the street. Todoroki followed, walls of ice shooting up to cage the criminal in. The crowd erupted in cheers. Seeing the three fight side by side again was like seeing legends reborn. Citizen, pointing, stunned, "Wait, that's Bakugo and Todoroki. But who's that appealing lady?" The villain roared, trying to break free, but Izuku pulled her WHB taut, eyes burning. Izuku, voice strong, unwavering. "Villains don't belong in this city anymore. Heroes are here to stay." With a final synchronized strike, Bakugo blasting from above, Todoroki freezing from the side, and Izuku slamming the villain down with her WHB, the criminal was defeated. Narrator voiceover, news, the three musketeers back in action. The scene cut to live news broadcasts flooding every television in Japan. Reporters swarmed the site, their cameras catching the trio standing victorious. But what caught everyone's eye was not Bakugo or Todoroki. It was the unfamiliar, appealing, powerful young woman who stood between them. Reporter, excited, rushing forward to Izuku. Excuse me. We know Dynamite and Shoto, but who are you?" The entire country is asking who's this hero that fought with them. Izuku stepped forward, graceful yet firm. The wind blew her hair as she stood tall before the cameras. She smiled softly, tears brimming at the corner of her eyes, but her voice strong. "Izuku, proudly, my name is Izuku Midoriya. Hero name, Deku. I was gone, lost for a long time. 7 years. But I'm back. Different, yes. Change, yes. But still the same successor of All Might. Still the hero who swore to protect this world." The crowd gasped. The news anchors stuttered. The live feed zoomed closer on her face. The freckles, the emerald eyes, the unmistakable voice of someone they thought dead. Reporter, in shock, "Midoriya? Izuku Midoriya? But you died 7 years ago." Izuku, shaking her head, voice breaking with emotion, "No, I lived. I was broken, lost, but One for All gave me a second chance. A new life, even in a new form. And I will use it to be the symbol of peace." to be the hero that everyone believed in. The nation erupted. In living rooms, shops, and offices across Japan, people stopped what they were doing. The country stared at their screens, stunned as tears flowed. UA teachers sat together, jaws dropped. Aizawa stared silently, his scarf hanging loose. President Mike covered his mouth in disbelief. Nizu's eyes shimmered with relief. Aizawa, low, shocked whisper, problem child. She's back. In Inko's home, Inko clutched her chest, crying tears of pride, smiling wide as she whispered her son's name. Beside her, Mitsuki grinned through tears, slapping Masaru's arm in joy. Achiko, watching with friends, sobbed openly but smiled so brightly it hurt. Achiko, teary, Deku really back. Back at the battlefield, Bakugo crossed his arms, trying to hide his smirk, while Todoroki stood silently beside him, eyes soft. The two let Izuku have the spotlight. It was her moment. Her return. The return of the symbol of peace. And as the camera zoomed out, the world whispered one truth. Deku has returned. The agency's grand hall was filled with light, laughter, and the smell of roasted food. Tables were stacked with feast sushi, ramen bowls, sizzling meats, even cake and wine bottles lined up. The Class 1A pro heroes were gathered, their voices echoing with joy as they celebrated. Kirishima, raising his glass high. Tio, Deku, to our Brono, our Cisno, to our hero coming back to us. Everyone, shouting together, glasses clinking, Tio, Deku. Izuku laughed brightly, holding her glass with both hands. Her green eyes sparkled with tears she didn't try to hide. She looked around at every face she once thought she'd never see again. And now they were all here, smiling alive. Achiko, leaning in, teary but grinning. I can't believe this, Deku. You're really here, talking, laughing with us again. Izuku, smiling warmly. Achiko, I missed you so much. I missed all of you. Yamamo, elegant, raising her glass gently. Your presence alone, Midoriya, is a gift greater than anything. You've returned, and with such strength and grace. Kaminari, half drunk, pointing at eyes of grace. But she's still the same dork. Look at her laugh. You can't tell me that's not the old Deku. Siro, laughing, clapping Kaminari's back. Yeah, she's still Deku. Just prettier now. Mina, teasing, squealing, prettier. She's drop-dead gorgeous. Like she walked in wearing that hero costume and boom, instant model. Izuku covered her cheeks, embarrassed, chuckling. Izuku, gee guys, please stop embarrassing me. Ida, standing tall, chopping his hand. Regardless of appearance, what matters is that our friend and classmate has safely returned. That is what we celebrate tonight. Sato, holding up a massive plate of food. Well said, Ida. Now, let's eat like we're back in the dorms again. The table roared with laughter as plates were passed, wine poured, and stories told. They joked, teased, and shared memories of the past. For the first time in years, the Class 1A bond felt whole again. Bakugo, sitting at the head of the table, arms crossed, smirking faintly. DMN extras finally get their Deku back, and you all act like it's Christmas. Kirishima, grinning wide, slapping his back. Come on, Bakugo. You're smiling too, you're just pretending you're not. Todoroki, quiet but genuine. This feels right again. Izuku watched them all, her chest swelling with warmth. She clinked her glass softly, whispering almost to herself. Izuku, softly, I'll never leave you all again. And the room burst with another cheer. Later that night, the laughter dimmed as the party continued inside. Izuku quietly slipped away, changing into a soft white dress with a ribbon tied neatly in her hair. She stepped out onto the balcony, the cool Mizudafa night wind brushing against her skin. Below, the city lights shimmered like stars fallen to earth. She leaned on the railing, smiling faintly at the view. Her thoughts wandered memories of loss, pain, and now, rebirth. Footsteps approached behind her. She didn't need to turn. Izuku, softly, teasing, you always find me, don't you, Kakin? Bakugo, smirking as he stopped beside her. All right. Can't leave you alone for 1 second, nerd. They stood side by side, silence falling for a moment as the wind carried the city's noise upward. Bakugo shoved his hands into his pockets, glancing sideways at her. Bakugo, gruff but proud, guess there's no need to train your dumb, but anymore. You got all back. Memories. Power. Everything. Izuku chuckled, tilting her head toward him. Izuku, true. But do you remember how hard you pushed me when I couldn't even remember my own name? You were relentless, Kakin. Bakugo, snorting, smirking wider, and right I was. Didn't matter if you were clueless, crying, or even like this. He gestures vaguely at her new form. I wasn't going to let you rot. I'd drag your butt back no matter what. Izuku laughed, her eyes soft but bright. Izuku, mock warning tone, careful, Kakin. Even if I'm a woman now, don't underestimate me. I could still kick your butt. Bakugo, grinning, leaning closer. Bring it on, Deku. You'll never beat me. Not in a million years. They both chuckled, leaning over the railing. The playful rivalry that once defined them still alive, but now softer woven with warmth and unspoken affection. The night wrapped around them as the city lights blinked below. Izuku, quietly, smiling. I'm glad I came back to this. To you. To all of this. Bakugo, smirk fading into something gentler. Yeah, me too, nerd. Inside, the cheers of their friends echoed, but on the balcony it was just them, laughing, mocking, and silently cherishing that after everything, they had finally found peace together. Izuku leaned against the railing, staring at Bakugo beside her. His crimson eyes caught the city's light, his smirk still tugging at the corner of his lips. Izuku's voice dropped softer, almost trembling. Izuku, quietly. Kakin, can I ask you something? Bakugo, snorting, TC. When the hell don't you? Izuku, serious now, eyes lowering. What if I never came back? What if I didn't survive after fighting Shigaraki? The words hung in the night air like heavy chains. For a moment, Bakugo didn't answer. His jaw clenched, his eyes darkening with a storm of emotions. He didn't usually show. Finally, he let out a sharp breath. Bakugo, low, firm, then I'd tear the Dimen world apart. Hunt down every villain, every last bestiarity that had a hand in it. And when I was done, his voice cracks for the slightest second, but he forces it steady. I'd carry your dumb dream for you, whether I wanted to or not. 'Cause it's ours now. You hear me, Deku? Ours. Izuku's eyes widened, her heart pounding. His words sank into her chest like fire, melting away the cold shadows that sometimes still haunted her. She blinked back tears and gave him a trembling smile. Izuku, softly, Kakin, can I hug you? Bakugo, face immediately flushing, looking away. The hell, No, absolutely not, nerd. Izuku, giggling stubborn, too late. Before he could dodge, Izuku leaped forward, wrapping her arms tightly around him. Bakugo growled, flailing for a second, but the warmth of her body against his froze him. He groaned, face red, and slowly hesitantly wrapped his arms back around her. Bakugo, muttering, in stubborn nerd, always doing whatever you want. Izuku, smiling against his chest. And you always let me. They stayed like that a moment, the sound of the city below and the muffled laughter of their friends inside filling the silence. Suddenly, a creak from the door. A chorus of whispers and muffled snickers broke out. Izuku and Bakugo froze, turning their heads. At the doorway, half of Class 1, peaked Inko, Kaminari, Mina, and Achiko stacked comically one on top of the other. They burst out laughing. Mina, sing-song teasing, oh, caught red-handed. Lovebirds on the balcony. Kaminari, pointing, cackling, look at Bakugo blushing. I didn't think it was possible. Achiko, grinning warmly, I knew it. I always knew. Bakugo, exploding with rage, face scarlet, shut the hell up, extras. He launched himself forward with an explosion, the peeking group scattering, screaming and laughing as they ran through the halls. Kirishima, laughing, dodging. Whoa, he's in love and still deadly. Manly as hell. Izuku, chuckling, hand covering her mouth. He hasn't changed at all. As Bakugo continued chasing the others like a madman, Todoroki quietly stepped onto the balcony. He stood beside Izuku, watching the chaos unfold with his usual calm demeanor. He glanced at her, his expression softening. Todoroki, I'm glad. He isn't HRD on you anymore. He's different with you. Izuku, smiling fondly, eyes on Baku. No, Shoto. He hasn't changed at all. Even if I'm a woman now, even if everything else has changed, we're still the same. Rivals. Fighting for number one. Challenging each other every step of the way. Todoroki let out a small chuckle. Rare, but genuine. Todoroki. Then I guess nothing has changed, and everything has changed. They both laughed softly, the warmth of friendship wrapping around them as Bakugo's angry shouts echoed down the hall, followed by the hysterical laughter of their classmates. The night at Bakugo's agency was filled with chaos, laughter, and the promise of bonds that would never break. Later, the night was quiet when Izuku left Bakugo's agency, waving goodbye to everyone with a soft smile. She walked down the street alone, the city lights glimmering around her. She waited by the curb for a taxi, her hands folded in front of her simple dress. That's when she noticed it across the street, a truck parked oddly close to the shadows of an alley. A group of men huddled behind it, speaking in low but hurried voices. Izuku narrowed her eyes, her instincts kicking in. She stepped back, slipping quietly behind a lamppost, and listened. Thug 1, grinning, the bombs are ready. Hotels, restaurants, malls, will send this city straight into chaos tomorrow. Thug 2, the heroes won't know what hit them. By the time they find out, it'll all be too late. Izuku's BLD ran cold. Her hands clenched tightly, then loosened as her expression hardened. She wasn't about to let Mizutofu be torn apart. She stepped forward from the shadows, her heels clicking softly on the pavement. The men turned, blinking in confusion as they saw her, a young woman in a dress, ribbon in her hair, looking delicate and out of place. Thug 3, snickering, what's this? Some girl lost her way. Thug 1, laughing, swaggering forward. Hey, sweetheart, this isn't a safe place for someone like you. Why don't you run home before you get hurt? Izuku tilted her head, her lips curving into a sharp smirk. Izuku, sarcastic, oh, really? I should run home? And leave you gentlemen to play with your toys? You must think I'm fragile, huh? Her green eyes gleamed dangerously in the streetlight. Izuku, mocking sweetly, sorry to disappoint you, but you just picked the wrong woman to underestimate. Before they could react, Izuku dropped her small handbag to the ground and slipped into a fighting stance. Her body lowered, her eyes focused. The men blinked in disbelief. Thug 2, snorting, what the hell is this? A dress and a fight pose? You're out of your league, doll. In a blur, Izuku launched herself forward. Her heel slammed into the first thug's gut, sending him flying back into the truck with a loud crash. The others froze, wide-eyed. Thug 3, the hell, she's fast. Thug 1, snarling, don't just stand there, take her down. The men pulled out guns, aiming directly at her. Izuku's smile widened, fearless. As they fired, she ducked, flipped, and twisted through the bullets like water flowing through cracks. Every dodge was graceful, flexible, almost like a dance. Landing on her feet, she gave them a glare sharp enough to freeze their BLD. Izuku, coldly, smirking, that all you've got? Pathetic. She raised her hand, black tendrils of energy whipping out from behind her like living shadows. With one motion, she snatched the guns from their hands and yanked them into the air. The thugs screamed as they were slammed to the ground one by one. With another sweep, she wrapped them all tightly in her black whip, binding them together like insects in a spider's web. The men groaned, struggling helplessly as she stood above them, dress flowing in the night breeze, hair ribbon glowing softly in the streetlight. She pulled out her phone calmly, as if she hadn't just taken down an entire squad in under a minute. Izuku, into phone. Hello, emergency line? I have multiple suspects tied up near East 6th Street, beside a parked truck. They were plotting a terrorist attack with bombs. Yes, they're secure. I recommend Hawks be notified, as well he'll want to check this out personally. She ended the call, pocketing her phone, then crouched down to look at the tied-up men. She gave them a smirk that was both intimidating and confident. Izuku, taunting, next time you plan to blow up my city, Make sure I'm not around. Oh, wait, too late. I'm back now. The men shivered, realizing only then who she was. The whispers spread among them. Thug 2. Horrified, Midoriya, Deku. The dead one. Izuku stood tall, dusted her hands, and turned her back on them, the night swallowing her silhouette like a guardian shadow. Endeavor's agency. The morning sun streamed through the high windows of agency conference room. Bakugo, Todoroki, and Tokoyami sat across from Hawks and Endeavor. Papers, maps, and reports were scattered across the table. The atmosphere was tense. Todoroki, calmly, brows furrowed. Why are we targeting malls, hotels, and restaurants specifically? That seems like too much ground. Hawks leaned back in his chair, wings rustling slightly, a sly but serious smile on his lips. Hawks, because our little green-haired princess told me something important last night. Bakugo instantly stiffened, leaning forward. Bakugo, snapping. What the hell are you talking about? What happened last night? Hawks, raising his brows, relax, dynamite. Izuku stumbled onto a group of guys with a truckload of plans. They said bombs are going to be planted in public hotspots. Hotels, malls, restaurants. If she hadn't overheard, we wouldn't even know this was coming. Tokoyami's eyes darkened. Tokoyami, so, last night wasn't coincidence. The shadows guided her toward danger. Bakugo slammed his fist against the table, glaring. Bakugo, she should have told me. What if something happened to her again? Hawks, chuckling, cutting him off. She's fine, Featherhead. In fact, she handled herself beautifully. Tied up 5 suspects in her dress like it was nothing. You be proud. Bakugo's scowl deepened, but his chest eased slightly. Todoroki gave Hawks a pointed look. Todoroki, so, you're saying we don't know if it's only those 5? Hawks, serious now, leaning forward, exactly. Could be more cells scattered around. That's why we're digging into every major site. Endeavor rumbled in agreement, his fiery aura glowing faintly. Endeavor, this isn't just a patrol. It's a sweep. If there are more bombs, we're finding them. Tokoyami, gravely. And what about Midoriya? She must be exhausted. Hawks, grinning, oh, don't worry. She's already ahead of you 3. She's working with Genist, Uravity, Red Riot, and Earphone Jack. She insisted on starting right away. Bakugo shot up from his seat, fists clenched, his face red with both anger and worry. Bakugo, Deku. Hawks smirked, plucking a feather lazily. Hawks, hey, look at it this way. She's not the same girl who fell last time. She's stronger now. Don't clip her wings, Dynamite. Just fly beside her. For once, Bakugo had no retort. His jaw clenched as his thoughts swirled. Inside a grand hotel lobby, Izuku and Achiko stood with polite smiles as they interviewed the staff. The chandeliers sparkled above them, the hum of guests moving in and out, making the setting seem almost too peaceful compared to the danger they were investigating. Achiko, softly, smiling to receptionist, "Excuse me, have you noticed anything unusual? Strange guests, suspicious deliveries, anything out of place recently?" Staff member, shaking head nervously. And no, everything has been normal. We haven't noticed anything like that. Izuku gave a small relieved smile, bowing slightly. Izuku, thank you. We'll just need to check the premises for safety. It's only a precaution. The staff nodded and let them through. The 2 heroines began their careful inspection of hallways, guest rooms, and storage areas. The tension grew heavier with each minute they didn't find something. Finally, in one of the upper floors, Achiko tilted her head, pointing upward. Achiko, Izuku, look, there's a crack in the ceiling here. Izuku narrowed her eyes, stepping closer. Her instinct screamed. She jumped lightly up, pressing her hand against the crack, and felt the cold, unnatural weight inside. Her heart sank. Izuku, grimly, it's a bomb. Achiko's eyes widened in horror. Achiko, you're kidding. Izuku's voice was calm, but sharp as she carefully extracted the device, her black whip bracing her balance against the ceiling. She cradled it like dangerous glass and landed back on her feet. Izuku, no joke. They actually planted one. Achiko breathed a shaky sigh of relief, hand on her chest. Achiko, At least we found it before it could hurt anyone. Iza pulled out her phone quickly, dialing Genist. Izu, into phone. Genist, we've confirmed one device. Hotel District, 12th floor, East Wing. I've secured it, but there may be more. Tell Hawks and Endeavor, this isn't just a threat. It's real. Achiko exhaled, her determination returning as she met Izu's eyes. Achiko, then let's keep searching. We'll make sure nobody suffers. Iza nodded, holding the bomb steady with a stern expression. The danger was real, but her eyes shone with unshaken resolve. The mall was alive with chatter, music, and shopping bags. As Bakugo and Todoroki walked past the glass railings of the 4th floor, a group of fangirls noticed them. Fangirl number 1, gasping, "Oh my god, Dynamite and Shoto." Fangirl number 2, squealing, "Kaya, look over here." They waved frantically, trying to snap pictures. Bakugo's eye twitched. He growled under his breath, glaring at them. Bakugo, snapping, muttering, "Teach them in extras." Always squealing like idiots. Todoroki, deadpan as always, didn't even glance at the crowd. His serious expression made the contrast almost comical. Todoroki, ignore them. Focus. Bakugo, gritting teeth. Easy for you, half and half BSDRD. They're not screeching your name. They walked down into the parking lot. The cool, musty air was thick with the scent of car exhaust and oil. Todoroki suddenly slowed his steps, his sharp eyes locking on a car near the corner. Todoroki, that car. Bakugo, turning, what about it? Todoroki, it hasn't moved since we got here. Same spot. Look at the dust, the tires are flat. They approached. Bakugo, impatience radiating, growled and grabbed the handle. Locked. Bakugo, snarling, like hell that's gonna stop me. With a sharp bang, he blasted the lock and yanked the door open. Both froze when they saw the inside. 3 bombs wired crudely but deadly, blinking with faint red lights under the seats. Bakugo, eyes widening, SHD. Todoroki immediately whipped out his phone, his usually calm voice tight. Todoroki, Endeavor. We found them. 3 bombs, parking lot, East Wing. This is no false threat. He hung up, exchanging a grim look with Bakugo. Todoroki, if there are bombs here, there will be more in the city. We'll need more support. Bakugo clenched his fists, his BLD boiling with rage. Bakugo, those BSDRDs, thinking they can blow up innocent people. I'll hunt every last one of them down. Todoroki gave him a steady nod. Their mission had just escalated. Inside Hawk's agency, phones rang nonstop. Hawks, perched on the edge of a desk, barked orders while using his feathers to grab files and pass them to officers. His usual playful tone was completely gone. Hawks, this isn't a game anymore. Close down every mall, every hotel, every restaurant. Evacuate quietly. We don't want to panic. Get heroes on every block, every alley. We're treating the entire city like a minefield. The police captain on the other line confirmed, dispatching units immediately. Hawks turned to the group of younger heroes. Hawks, listen up. Every second matters. Move in teams, sweep everything. Don't stop until your legs give out. Got it. Meanwhile, in one of the malls, Izu and Achiko rendezvoused with Kirishima and Jairu. The 4 looked worn but determined, their eyes shadowed by exhaustion. Kirishima, panting, hands on his knees. Man, we've searched 3 whole floors and still nothing. It's not manly to admit, but I'm running out of steam here. Jairu crossed her arms, earbuds twitching as she strained to detect any unusual vibrations. Jairu, serious. Don't quit now, Rockhead. If even one bomb goes off, it could kill hundreds. Achiko gave them a reassuring but strained smile, brushing sweat from her brow. Achiko, she's right. We can't stop until we're sure. Izu placed a firm hand on Kirishima's shoulder, her green eyes steady despite the weight in her chest. Izu, I know you're tired, Ijiru, but think about the people shopping here right now. Families. Kids. They don't even know how close they are to danger. We can't give up until we're certain they're safe. Kirishima clenched his teeth, then straightened with a sharp nod, determination flaring again. Kirishima, You're right. No excuses. Let's split up again, cover more ground. They all nodded, breaking apart once more, the weight of the city's safety pressing on their shoulders. Even in their exhaustion, none of them allowed themselves to falter. The echoes of hurried footsteps filled the wide corridor of the mall's upper floor. Bakugo's comm crackled. Hawk's voice came sharp and fast. Hawk's comm, heads up, dynamite, Shoto. More bombs have been confirmed. Restaurant ceilings, under tables, parking lots. This guy's gone citywide. Stay sharp. Bakugo, snarling, sparks popping at his palms. TC, I knew it wasn't just this place. BSDRD's got this whole DMN city rigged. Todoroki, calm, scanning the area. Then the mall isn't an exception. We need to keep moving. As they turned the corner, they suddenly came face to face with Kirishima and Jairu, both catching their breath but still ready for action. Bakugo froze for a second, genuinely surprised. Bakugo, barking the hell? What you two extras doing here? Kirishima, grinning tiredly, scratching his head. We got redirected by Hawks. More manpower. We've been sweeping the second and third floors. Jairu, serious, crossing her arms. Not like it's been easy. There's too much ground to cover, and the civilians keep slowing us down. Bakugo, stepping closer, growling, don't give me excuses, earphones. You find anything or not? Kirishima, nodding firmly now. Actually, we spotted some suspicious wiring near a service hallway. Looked like it had been tampered with recently. No bomb, but definitely not normal. Jairu, sighing, and we just ran into Izuku and Achiko earlier. They were heading out to check the hotel and casino area. Todoroki's brows furrowed slightly, his tone sharp but calm. Todoroki, where exactly did they go? Kirishima, shrugging, looking uneasy. We don't know the exact floor. They said they'd take the back exit to get there faster. After that, we split. Bakugo, scowling, fist clenching, dim in it. Of course those two would run off on their own. Idiots. Jairu, narrowing her eyes at him. Hey, don't talk like they're reckless. They're probably being careful. Bakugo, snapping back. Careful my butt. That nerd's got a death wish, and Roundface follows her every DMN time. Kirishima, stepping between them, try to ease tension. Bro, chill. Izuku can handle herself. If anything, she's probably way ahead of us right now. Todoroki placed a hand on Bakugo's shoulder lightly, cutting his anger short. Todoroki, focus. We can't afford distractions. If they're at the hotel, then they're walking into one of the most populated danger zones in the city. Bakugo, gritting teeth, muttering to him in nerd. She better not do anything stupid. The four of them exchanged a tense look. They all knew this wasn't just about searching anymore. It was a race against time. The casino glittered with golden lights, slot machines chiming, and laughter spilling from tables. But amidst the glamour, Izuku's eyes scanned sharply, her pulse hammering. She could feel the pressure of the situation in her bones. She noticed how many people were still inside, unaware of the danger. Izuku, clenching her fists, whispering, why aren't they leaving? The announcement was made. Achiko, softly, tugging her arm. Izuku, remember what Hawks said. The evacuation notice doesn't mention bombs. If they told the truth, people would panic. Stampede, injuries, maybe even deaths. Izuku, gritting teeth, whispering harshly, but what good is it if they don't listen? If one of these bombs goes off? Her voice cracked, but she cut herself off, taking a deep breath. Achiko held her gaze firmly. Achiko, that's why we're here, to make sure it doesn't happen. Swallowing her frustration, Izuku pressed on. She crouched under a poker table, her sharp eyes catching a metal device strapped beneath. A faint red glow blinked ominously. Izuku, low voice one. She moved swiftly to another table, finding yet another device hidden the same way. Izuku, snapping too. This is insane. Achiko's voice came hurried from the kitchen. Achiko, Izuku, found one back here, behind the sink pipes. Izuku sighed sharply, pulling herself up on a chair to check the ceiling. As soon as she pushed a panel aside, another metallic box stared back at her. Her chest tightened. Izuku, growling, 3 in one building. Before she could speak further, static erupted. Every television screen in the casino flickered, the slot machines freezing mid-spin. The civilians laughed nervously, assuming it was part of some show. But then, his face appeared, half hidden in shadow, smirking. The mastermind. Mastermind on TV, mocking tone. Well, looks like my little scavenger hunt is keeping you all busy. Izuku froze, Achiko rushing back to her side, eyes wide. The man chuckled darkly, leaning closer into the camera. Mastermind, you heroes are so predictable. Scurrying around, sweating over scraps. You think finding a few toys will save this city? Achiko, whispering, trembling but angry, he's watching us. Izuku, muttering, eyes burning with fury. And he wants us to know it. Mastermind, grin widening, but here's the fun part. For everyone you disarm, 10 more wait to go off. I planted them everywhere. Restaurants, hotels, malls, even the streets you're standing on. You can't stop them all. Gasps spread among the gamblers. Whispers grew into fear. Some started rushing for the exits. Panic built. Achiko, clutching her fists, whispering, he's trying to break us, scare the civilians into chaos. Izuku, shaking with rage, shouting at the screen, coward, you think hiding behind cameras makes you strong? The mastermind's eyes seemed to glint with amusement, as if he could hear her. Mastermind, voice dropping to a chilling tone, run fast, little heroes. Because when the final fuse burns out, I'll be smiling in the fire. The screen cut to black. The casino erupted in chaos. People screamed, chairs overturned, slot machines clattered to the ground. Alarms blared through the building. Achiko reached for Izuku's hand, her eyes burning with determination. Achiko, we can't let him win. Not here. Not now. Izuku, breathing hard, clenching her jaw. Then let's shut him down. Every last bomb. The entire city shook with fear. Crowds poured out of restaurants, hotels, and malls, their screams echoing against the tall buildings. Parents clutched their children. People tripped and fell. Sirens blared louder as pro-heroes and police rushed everywhere. Hawks hovered above, wings beating against the smoke. Hawks, shouting through comms, pro-heroes, spread out. Prioritize evacuation zones. Keep civilians moving. Don't let them freeze in panic. Gina's steel-blue eyes narrowed, threads shooting from his fingers, catching falling debris before it crushed a group of civilians. Gina, steady. Stay together. Move in an orderly line. Heroes, maintain formation. We can't let chaos take more lives. Endeavor's flames blazed brighter, his booming voice carrying across the plaza. Endeavor, this way, move. The shelters are clear, go now. Meanwhile, Bakugo stood rigid, his fists trembling with nitro sparks bursting around his palms. His face twisted with rage as the villain's face flickered back onto the big screens. Mastermind villain, smirking, holding the remote. Well, heroes, look at you. Running around, chasing shadows. You think you can save them all? You think you can stop me? He waves the remote teasingly. Too slow, far too slow. And now, you'll watch as your hope goes up in flames. Bakugo snarled, stepping forward, teeth grinding. Bakugo, BSDRD if I get my hands on you. Todoroki, sharp, firm. Bakugo, calm down. Bakugo, snapping, shut up, half in half. I'm not calming down when that psycho is playing with lives. Kirishima, worried, stepping in Kakin. Listen, we need to keep moving. If he presses that button while we're standing here. Jairu, tense, clutching her jacks. I don't hear any ticking near us, but I don't like this. He's not just bluffing. Bakugo growled, sparks crackling louder. His whole body was coiled like a bomb ready to explode itself. Then, mastermind villain, laughing, voice echoing through the city. Heroes, I think it's time we test your resolve. The remote clicked. Boom. Explosions ripped through the city. One after another, fireballs erupted. 5 restaurants, 3 hotels, and 1 mall. Shockwaves shook the ground. Windows shattered. Buildings crumbled. Civilians screamed in horror. Even the officers and heroes on the ground froze at the devastation. Genist, in disbelief, no, it can't be. Endeavor, furious, fire erupting violently, Demon IT. Hawks, eyes wide, voice breaking, we didn't make it in time. Smoke and flames rose into the sky, covering the horizon. Bakugo's red eyes widened, his chest seizing like ice. Bakugo, low growl, no. Todoroki, staring, voice breaking, that hotel, the one next to us. Kirishima, realizing, face paling, wait, that's the hotel Izuku and Achiko went to. Jiru, hand over her mouth, trembling, no way, don't tell me they were. Bakugo's rage exploded out. Bakugo, roaring Deku. He blasted himself off the ground, soaring toward the flaming wreckage. Todoroki followed, ice already bursting from his hand to cool, collapsing rubble. Todoroki, shouting, we have to check. They could still be alive. Bakugo, furious, voice cracking, don't say could. Damn it. They are alive. I'm not letting them die. Kirishima's body hardened fully, his voice shaking but determined. Kirishima, hang on, Izuku. Bro, don't you dare give up now. I'm coming for you. Jiru's eyes filled with tears, but she sprinted after them, plugging her jacks into the ground to listen. Jiru, desperate, please let me hear their heartbeat. Please be alive. The four heroes charged into the inferno, flames and debris swallowing the night, their hearts racing with one thought. Izuku and Achiko are in there. The sixth floor of the hotel was a hellscape. Flames curled up the walls, glass cracked and shattered, and the entire floor leaned dangerously as if the whole place would crumble any second. Izuku stirred weakly, his lashes heavy with ash. Her throat burned with every breath, each cough shaking his chest. She forced himself onto his elbows, vision swimming. Izuku, groggy, whispering, Uraraka, please. She crawled toward her, dragging his body through splintered wood and hot concrete. Achiko lay unconscious, her hair plastered to her face with BLD and soot. Izuku reached her, shaking her shoulder. Izuku, hoarse, desperate, wake up. Come on, we can't stay here. Please, Oka, open your eyes. She didn't respond. A sob cracked from his throat, half anger, half despair. She forced himself up, staggering to the door. She gripped the handle and pulled, but it didn't move an inch. Debris had wedged it shut. She coughed violently, falling against the frame. Eyes weak, pounding the door. Someone, anyone, help us. Her voice broke into a dry rasp. He tried again, but his lungs screamed for air. Her knees buckled, sending him to the ground. Izuku, fading, whispering, Kakin. Todoroki, anyone. She reached for Achiko's hand, holding it tightly before her eyes rolled back. Darkness consumed him as he lost consciousness. Outside, four figures burst into the collapsing hotel. Bakugo, snarling, move it. Every DM second we waste, they're dying in there. Todoroki, sharp, steady, don't rush blindly. If we collapse the wrong part, they won't make it out at all. He spread his arms. FWOSH, and a massive sheet of ice surged forward, freezing fires along the walls and ceilings, creating safe paths through unstable beams. Jiru pressed her jacks into the ground. Her eyes narrowed, listening to the vibrations beneath the rubble. Jiru, yelling, I hear breathing. Survivors over here. Kirishima, grinning despite the chaos. Got it. Leave it to me. He hardened his body and lifted slabs of concrete like they were nothing, freeing people trapped under them. Dusty civilians gasped for air, clinging to Jiru as she guided them out. Jiru, urgent, we'll take care of these people. Bakugo, Todoroki, find Izuku and Uraraka before it's too late. Bakugo, clenching fists, sparks flying, T-Seeps like I need to be told. He launched himself forward with explosions, blasting upward through collapsing hallways. Todoroki followed, freezing staircases as makeshift ladders. Bakugo, shouting through the smoke, Deku, Uraraka, answer me, DM minute. Todoroki, loud, controlled, Midoriya, can you hear us? Stay awake, we're almost there. Their voices echoed like distant lifelines. Izuku stirred faintly at the sound. Her cracked lips trembled into the faintest smile. Her voice was gone, nothing but a rasp, but she forced his body toward the door. Her fist, weak, trembling, pounded against it. Bang! Bang! Bakugo froze mid-step, his head snapping toward the muffled sound. Bakugo, wide-eyed, that's her. That's Deku. He bolted toward the blocked door, seeing it wedged with bricks and twisted steel beams. He slammed both hands against it. Bakugo, roaring, Deku, hold on, we're right here. Don't you close your eyes? You hear me? From inside, Izuku leaned against the door, barely awake. She let out a cracked whisper. Izuku, faint, smiling weakly. Kakin, knew you'd come. Bakugo's chest clenched. Bakugo, to Todoroki, frantic, we need this open now. Todoroki raised his arm, ice crawling over the collapsing ceiling to hold it steady. Todoroki, focused, I'll stabilize it. Blast it open. Bakugo, snarling like hell, I need permission. Boom! A massive explosion ripped the debris apart, dust blasting outward. Through the smoke, they saw them, Izuku and Achiko, lying on the floor. Achiko was unconscious, Izuku half awake, smiling faintly at them. Izuku weak, trembling, you came. Bakugo, dropping to his knees, voice cracking, you dim-in nerd. Don't smile like that when you're half dead. He scooped Izuku into his arms, gripping him tightly against his chest. Sparks flickered around his palms, his hands shaking. Bakugo, gritted teeth, stay with me. I swear if you die, I'll... He bit back the words, his voice breaking. Meanwhile, Todoroki carefully lifted Achiko into his arms. He pressed 2 fingers to her neck. Todoroki, calm but relieved, she's alive. Breathing shallow, but alive. Izuku's eyelids fluttered one last time as he whispered, Izuku, faint, fading, thank you. Kakin. Then his body went limp in Bakugo's arms. Bakugo, panicked, roared, Deku. His heart thundered in his chest. Without another word, he bolted down the collapsing corridor, cradling Izuku tightly. Bakugo, to Todoroki, snarling but shaken. We're getting them out now. Freeze whatever you have to. I'm not letting him die here. Together, Bakugo and Todoroki tore through the ruins, carrying Izuku and Achiko towards safety as the building groaned and began to collapse entirely behind them. The white sterile walls of the hospital contrasted with the chaos they had just survived. Machines beeped steadily, oxygen masks hissed, and the air smelled faintly of antiseptic. Inside the room, Achiko and Izuku lay unconscious in separate beds, covered in bandages and hooked up to IVs. Their faces were pale, chests rising and falling slowly but steadily. Bakugo stood with arms crossed, leaning against the wall, but his eyes never left Izuku. Todoroki sat quietly beside the bed, his gaze calm yet sharp, scanning every monitor reading. Kirishima and Jiru were near the door, dust and soot still on their clothes. Suddenly, the door slid open. Ida, rushing in, are they all right? What is Midoriya's condition? And Uraraka's? Behind him, Mina, Yamamo, Kaminari, Tokoyami, Shinso, and Hagakure spilled into the room, their voices overlapping in panic. Mina, teary-eyed, please tell me they're okay. Yamamo, urgent, did the doctor say anything? Internal injuries? Burns. Kaminari, hands shaking, man, I thought we lost them when I saw the news. Tokoyami, grim, their survival is nothing short of a miracle. Shinso, low, serious, how bad was it really? Hagakure, soft, sniffing, I couldn't stop thinking about them all night. Kirishima raised his hands, trying to calm them. Kirishima, firm, they're stable now. Both of them, we found them in time. Jiru nodding, yeah. It was close, too close, but Todoroki froze the fire, and Bakugo blasted through the debris. If we were even a minute later, the room fell silent, the weight of her words sinking in. Bakugo finally spoke, his voice low but rough. Bakugo, gruff, looking at Izuku. Deku and Uraraka are stubborn idiots. They held out long enough for us to get to him. That's all that matters now. At that moment, the door opened again. Best Genus stepped in, his tall figure composed yet weary. Genus calm, reassuring, I came to check in. The hospital is overflowing with civilians injured from blasts. But, rest assured, no casualties. Every injured person is stable. Everyone let out a collective breath of relief. Yamamo, softly, clasping her hands, thank goodness. Genis glanced at Izuku and Achiko, then at Bakugo, his expression proud yet stern. Genis, your quick actions prevented a tragedy today. All of you. But especially you two, he nodded at Bakugo and Todoroki for pushing through the flames. Bakugo looked away with a scoff, hiding the heat in his chest. Bakugo mutters, "Tsich, just did what I had to do." Hours later, the room had grown quiet. Most of the others had stepped out to check on Achiko in the next room. Bakugo and Todoroki remained behind, watching over Izuku. A faint stir broke the silence. Izuku's fingers twitched, his lashes fluttering before his green eyes slowly cracked open. Eyes weak, hoarse whisper, Kakin. Todoroki. Bakugo shot up instantly, stepping closer. His usual scowl softened into raw relief. Bakugo low, urgent Deku, don't move yet, dim-in nerd. You'll rip your stitches. Izuku gave him a tired but bright smile, ignoring the sting in his chest. Izu, softly, you really came for us. Bakugo, gritted teeth, eyes narrowing but voice shaking, of course I did. What the hell did you expect me to do? Leave you there to burn? Idiot. Todoroki leaned forward, calm but gentle. Todoroki, you're safe now. The doctor said you inhaled a lot of smoke, but your body's healing. Just rest. Izuku nodded slowly, then whispered. Izu, Uraraka? Is she okay? Todoroki, soft smile, she's awake. The others are with her in the next room. She'll recover. Izuku sighed in relief, his body sinking back into the pillow. His hand instinctively reached out, trembling. Without hesitation, Bakugo caught it and squeezed tightly, glaring at him. Bakugo, soft growl. Don't you ever scare me like that again, Deku. Izuku chuckled weakly, his eyes glassy but warm. Izu whisper, sorry Kakin. Guess. I still need you. Bakugo's chest tightened, but he said nothing, just held on tighter. Few days later, Bakugo's agency office, morning. The desk was once again buried under piles of folders, requests, and mission approvals. Bakugo sat with a scowl, furiously flipping through papers while Todoroki calmly drank tea in the corner and Ida adjusted his glasses, ready to deliver a report. Ida, serious, explaining Endeavor's patrol strategy has been quite efficient, though Hawks insist his methods are too reckless. Todoroki, flat, sipping, that sound about right. Bakugo, growling, signing fast, TCH. Both of them have their own issues. Not like I don't have to clean up after Hawks CRP2. Just then, the door opened. Uraraka and Yuzu entered, both balancing another stack of documents. Uraraka, cheerfully apologetic, sorry, Bakugo. More approval papers from City Hall. They said it's urgent. Yaoyorozu, bowing slightly. These need your signature as soon as possible. The loud thud as the papers hit the desk made Bakugo freeze mid-scribble. Slowly, his head turned toward them, one eyebrow twitching. Bakugo, snarling, are you kidding me? Todoroki, smirking lightly, number one hero, defeated by paperwork. Tragic. Bakugo, slamming pen on desk, shut up, half and half. Ida, chuckling, to Todoroki, I must admit, your ability to handle Bakugo's temper is remarkable. Todoroki, deadpan, it's not difficult. Just requires honesty. Bakugo growled, flipping through the papers like his life depended on it, signing at lightning speed. The peace didn't last. The door swung open and in strolled Kaminari, Ciro, and Mineta, laughing loudly. Kaminari, grinning, yo. You should have seen us at the beach patrol yesterday. So many cute girls, all over us. Mineta, dreamy, drooling swimsuits everywhere. It was heaven. Ciro, stretching his arms, smug. We're practically local celebrities now. Autographs, numbers, the works. Bakugo slammed his palms on the desk, explosion sparking. Bakugo, yelling, shut the hell up. I'm working. The trio flinched, then smirked when they noticed Todoroki hiding a small smile and Ida pretending to look serious. Zero suddenly snapped his fingers, as if remembering something. Zero, grinning, "Oh right, wasn't Midoriya on beach patrol too?" Kaminari, snickering, "Oh yeah, dude, she was like a magnet. Hot guys swarming her. They wanted selfies, her number. Some even asked her out." Mineta leaned forward, eyes sparkling mischievously. Mineta, teasing sing-song. Our Deku-chan, a celebrity and a heartbreaker. The sound of Bakugo's pen snapping in half echoed in the room. His head lifted slowly, eyes blazing with fury. Bakugo low growl, "What? Did you? Just say." Zero, holding back laughter, "Chill, man. It's not like she said yes. But those guys were definitely trying their luck." Kaminari, grinning, elbowing Mineta, "Bet she smiled at them too. She's way too nice to say no right away." Bakugo, exploding like hell, "She did." He started furiously scribbling his signatures again, so fast the papers slid off the desk and scattered across the floor. One fell by his feet, and when he bent down to grab it, he banged his head on the desk edge. Bakugo, shouting, rubbing his head, "Dimin, it. This is your fault." Zero, mock innocent, "Ours? We're just telling you what happened." Kaminari, snickering, "Somebody's jealous." Mineta, clasping hands dramatically, "The great." Bakugo, scared of losing his fiancée to handsome strangers on beach. Bakugo, roaring, sparks flying, "Get out of my office before I kill you." The three bolted for the door, laughing hysterically. Meanwhile, the rest of the room erupted into muffled chuckles. Uraraka, giggling, whispering to us, "He's so obvious when it comes to Isizu." Yaoruzu, smiling, "It's rather endearing." Ida, pushing up his glasses, amused, "I dare say he reacts more violently to Midoriya than to villains." Todoroki, smirking faintly, sipping tea, "I'm surprised the desk hasn't melted yet." Bakugo, red-faced and fuming, scrambled to pick up the fallen papers, muttering under his breath. Bakugo, grumbling to himself, "Nerd better not be smiling at those BSDRDS." In front of Bakugo's agency, a taxi stopped, and Izuku stepped out, her arms stacked with several boxes that looked far too heavy for one person. She tried to balance them against her chest when suddenly, Kirishima, grinning, "Oi, Deku, need a hand?" Ojiro, hurrying over here, "Let me grab a few of those before you drop them." They each relieved her of 2 boxes, Izuku blinking in surprise before smiling gratefully. Izuku, smiling softly, "Ah, thank you, Kirishima." Ojiro, "I didn't expect to run into you here." Kirishima, teasing, chuckling, "Come on, Izuku, you're different now. No way we're gonna just stand and watch you carry all this by yourself." Ojiro, nodding politely, "Exactly. And besides, you've been working nonstop too. We should help out when we can." Izuku blushed faintly at their sincerity, shifting one lighter box in her arms. Izuku, curious, "Where is everyone else?" Kirishima, scratching his head, "Inside, totally swamped. Paperwork, calls, emergencies. Everyone looks half dead in there." Ojiro, smiling wryly, "Especially Bakugo. He's drowning in files, and you know how he gets." Izuku giggles. "Yeah, even though he's smart, he hates paperwork more than anything. Kaken plus a pen is like watching an explosion in slow motion." Kirishima laughed, so hard he nearly dropped his box. Kirishima, laughing, "Perfect description." Ojiro, gesturing to the boxes, "By the way, what's in here? Don't tell me you carried all this alone." Izuku, cheerfully, "Half paperwork, half food. I noticed you guys didn't take lunch breaks, so I bought meals for everyone." Both boys' eyes widened with excitement. Kirishima, grinning wide, "You serious? You're a lifesaver, Izuku." Ojiro, smiling warmly, "That's really thoughtful. Thank you." They quickened their pace toward the agency, chatting like old friends reunited. Inside the agency's main floor, the moment Kirishima and Ojiro announced the food, the tired-looking group perked up. Zero and Kaminari practically jumped out of their chairs, while Mina squealed in delight. Mina, hugging Izuku lightly. Izuku, you're an angel. Kaminari, grabbing a container. Food, glorious food. I could cry right now. Zero, slumping in a chair, opening his lunch. I think you just saved my life, Midoriya. Izuku laughs softly at their over-the-top reactions. Izuku, gentle. Eat first before you collapse. Just a little break won't hurt. But Yaoyorozu shook her head, standing near a desk stacked with files. Yaoyorozu, concerned but firm, we can't afford breaks right now. Too many requests coming in. Ida, adjusting glasses, stiff but polite. Midoriya, your thoughtfulness is appreciated, but the situation is urgent. We must prioritize the workload. Izuku nodded understandingly. Izuku, softly, I get it. In that case, Kirishima, Ojiro, could you help me distribute meals to those who can't leave their desks? Kirishima, giving a thumbs up on it. Ojiro, smiling, we'll handle it. As they split up, Izuku glanced toward the upper offices. Todoroki and Bakugo's door was firmly shut, muffled voices behind it. Izuku, curious, muttering Todoroki and Kaken, still holed up in there. Ida sighs, crossing arms, yes. Best not to disturb them. Bakugo's temper is at its peak. Izuku, chuckling softly, figures. Kaken versus paperwork is the real battle of the day. Some of the others laughed, but Izuku's smile lingered as her eyes drifted to the closed office once more, her heart tugging slightly. Todoroki's office. Izuku knocked lightly, and a calm, "Come in," answered from inside. She pushed the door open, peeking in with a small smile. Todoroki sat at his desk, surrounded by reports and mission schedules, his brows slightly furrowed. Izuku, softly, Todoroki-kun, I brought you lunch. Todoroki looked up, his expression softening immediately when he saw her. Todoroki, small smile, Midoriya. You didn't have to, but thank you. I was about to forget the time. She set the box down carefully. Izuku, concerned, you look exhausted. At least take 10 minutes to eat, okay? Even heroes need rest. Todoroki paused, staring at her for a moment as if weighing her words. Then he nodded slowly. Todoroki, grateful, you're right. I'll rest for a bit. You always think about others before yourself. I'm glad you're here, Midoriya. Izuku blushed slightly, but smiled back. Izuku, gentle laugh. That's just who I am. Take care of yourself, Todoroki-kun. They shared a quiet moment before she excused herself, leaving him to finally unwrap his meal. Bakugo's office. Izuku knocked twice. Silence. She frowned, tilting her head before carefully pushing the door open. Izuku, soft voice, Kaken. No response. Her eyes softened when she saw him slumped over his desk, cheek pressed against a pile of papers, his pen still in hand. Dozens of unsigned documents littered the table, some even sliding to the floor. Bakugo's breathing was steady, but his brows were still furrowed, even in sleep. Izuku set the lunch container gently on the corner of his desk, then pulled a small blanket from the chair and draped it over his shoulders. Izuku, whispering to herself, always pushing yourself too far. Even when you're this tired, you won't stop. She carefully gathered the scattered papers, organizing them into neat piles. As she worked, her gaze drifted back to Bakugo, his stubborn determination even visible while resting. A soft, fond smile tugged at her lips. Izuku, quietly, you're really amazing, Kaken, but you don't have to carry everything alone. Once everything was tidy, she lingered a moment longer, just watching him breathe peacefully. Finally, she stepped back toward the door, careful not to make sound. She slipped out quietly, leaving him undisturbed, her presence only marked by the blanket and the meal waiting for him when he woke. Bakugo's office, early morning. Bakugo stirred awake, blinking at the dim light of his office lamp still burning. Something soft slid off his shoulders, a blanket. He sat up, scowling in confusion. Bakugo, grumbling, the hell is this? His gaze shifted to the table. A closed container of food sat neatly beside the now perfectly stacked and organized pile of papers. Bakugo froze. Bakugo, blinking, muttering, the hell? I didn't do this. He rubbed his eyes, yawning, then stomped out into the hallway. Bakugo, loudly, crossing his arms, "Did any of you extras get into my office last night?" Everyone looked up from their desks. Mina shrugged, Ida adjusted his glasses, and Kaminari tilted his head. Kaminari, confused, "Nope." "What?" Yaoyorozu, shaking her head, "We've all been busy on the main floor, Bakugo." Zero, teasing grin, "What? Somebody tuck you in?" Bakugo, growling, "Shut up, tape face." Rolling his eyes, Bakugo turned away, but his curiosity gnawed at him. Instead of returning to his office, he strode straight to the CCTV room. Inside, he pulled up the feed, fast-forwarding through the night. His eyes widened slightly when he saw Izuku step quietly into his office. She laid down the food, carefully draped the blanket over his shoulders, and began sorting his paperwork. Bakugo leaned closer to the screen, lips parting unconsciously. "Bakugo," soft muttered, "Dim-in nerd." For just a moment, his cheeks flushed. He quickly shook his head, clenching his fists. At that moment, Aoyama and Hagakure entered, holding clipboards. Aoyama, sparkling dramatically, "Oh mon dieu, Bakugo-kun, why are you in the CCTV room? Checking your glamorous angles." Hagakure, curious, "Yeah, you never come in here. What's up?" Bakugo stiffened, slamming the monitor off. Bakugo, snapping, "I dropped my wallet yesterday. Thought I'd check if it showed up on the cameras. None of your business." Before they could question him further, he stormed out of the room, a smirk tugging at his lips despite himself. Bakugo, inwardly, smirking, "So is you, Izu." Todoroki's office. Todoroki sat calmly, sipping his morning coffee when Bakugo walked past. He raised a brow at the faint smirk tugging at Bakugo's mouth. Todoroki, flatly, setting down his cup, "You look different this morning." Bakugo, irritated, frowning, "What the hell are you talking about?" Todoroki, tilting his head, deadpan, smirking at 8 a.m. unusual. Did something good happen? Or did the paperwork finally surrender? Bakugo, growling, "Mind your own dim-in business, half and half." Todoroki, calm, teasing slightly, "So you did wake up in a good mood." "Interesting." Bakugo paused, staring at him for a moment before letting out a sharp exhale. He leaned against the doorframe, lips curling just a bit. Bakugo, smirking, "Yeah, guess you could say that." He turned and left before Todoroki could ask anything else, his smirk lingering because the truth was his good morning had everything to do with Izuku's quiet care the night before. Midoriya residence, morning. The sunlight filtered through the curtains as Izuku stretched awake. She slipped into a soft, long-sleeve blouse and a modest skirt, tying her hair back loosely. When she stepped into the kitchen, the smell of fried pork and miso soup filled the air. Izuku, surprised, smiling, Katsudon? "Mom, you made it." Inko turned from the stove with a gentle smile. Inko, warmly, "Of course. You've been so busy lately, I thought you'd want something comforting." Izuku sat at the table, taking her first bite. Her eyes softened instantly, a nostalgic warmth spreading through her chest. Izuku, smiling softly, "It's been so long. I missed your cooking, Mom." Inko sat across from her, resting her chin on her palm as she watched her daughter eat with such relief. Inko, teasing lightly, "You're always running around, working hard, saving people. I worry you don't take time for yourself." Izuku giggled nervously, scratching her cheek. Izuku, "I try, but you're right, I push myself a lot. This really helps." They finished their meal quietly, enjoying the rare, peaceful morning together. Afterward, Inko put on her coat. "Inko, I'll head to the department store, restock our groceries. Do you need anything, Izuku?" Izuku, shaking her head, "No, it's fine, Mom. Just be careful, okay? I'll be heading to the agency now." They exchanged a warm hug before parting ways. Downtown bookstore. On her way, Izuku stopped at a bookstore to browse. Her eyes widened when she saw a familiar title neatly displayed on a shelf of her published book. A few people were flipping through it, even heading to the counter to buy it. Izuku's lips curved into a proud but humble smile. Izuku, softly to herself, "People are really reading it. I'm glad." With a deep breath of satisfaction, she stepped out and continued her way to Bakugo's agency. Inside, she immediately spotted Uraraka, Kirishima, and Todoroki lounging in the lounge area, finally taking a breather. Izuku, smiling gently, "You're all resting. That's good. I was worried you'd keep overworking." Uraraka waved happily. Uraraka, Izuku, "Yeah, we actually got a break. For once." Kirishima, grinning, arms behind his head, "Feels weird not running around nonstop. But it's nice." Just then, the main doors opened. Bakugo, Todoroki, Ida, Shinso, and Kaminari walked in, looking a bit worn from patrol. Bakugo wiped sweat from his brow, muttering something under his breath, while Ida straightened his tie as if they had just left a meeting instead of the streets. Izuku, curious, stepping closer, "How was patrol today?" Kaminari flopped dramatically onto a chair. Kaminari, groaning long hot, full of screaming civilians. "My ears are still ringing." Shinso, dryly, "That's because you were yelling louder than them." Ida, adjusting glasses, "We handled several incidents. Nothing major, but the workload is heavy. Still, order is maintained." Todoroki nodded calmly, brushing off his patrol jacket. "Todoroki, no bombs today. That's already an improvement." Izuku chuckled at their different answers, her gaze unconsciously lingering on Bakugo. He glanced at her briefly, then scoffed, pretending to be uninterested as he headed toward his office. Izuku, smiling knowingly, whispering to herself, "Same old Kakin." Izuku's phone buzzed on the table. She picked it up, answering with a cheerful tone. Izuku on phone, smiling, "Hello? Oh, sure. Restaurant? Yeah, I can make it. All right, see you there." She hung up quickly. Uraraka tilted her head curiously. "Uraraka, who was that, Izuku?" Izuku slipped her phone back into her bag, not hiding anything. "Izuku, casually a guy I met at the coffee shop. He asked to meet again today." The room went quiet for a second. From a hallway, Bakugo froze mid-step, his sharp ears catching every word. Yaozu, concerned, "Midoriya, are you sure that's safe? Meeting a stranger like that?" Izuku, smiling, reassuring, "It's fine, Yamamo. He's a co-worker from the community patrol team. We've been working together sometimes. He's kind of been courting me, actually." Her cheeks flushed lightly. Uraraka and Kirishima's eyes widened. Uraraka, surprised, "Courting?" Kirishima, whispering to Sirowo, "Deku with a boyfriend? That's unexpected, but kinda cool." Izuku waved her hand quickly, flustered. Izuku, hurried, "It's nothing serious yet. Anyway, I'll be late if I don't go. See you later." She jogged out the door, leaving the others staring at each other in stunned silence. From the hall, Bakugo clenched his fists, jaw tight, eyes dark with irritation. Bakugo stormed back inside, glaring at everyone. Bakugo growling, "Oi, the hell did I just hear? Deku's getting courted by some extra." Everyone blinked. Uraraka nervously raised her hand. Uraraka, awkwardly, she said the guy's nice. Maybe she'll have a boyfriend soon." Kaminari leaned back with a sly grin. Kaminari, grinning, "Oh, is that why you're so worked up? Don't tell me. Bakugo, are you jealous?" Bakugo's face darkened, his scowl deepening as his hand twitched dangerously like he was about to explode something. Bakugo, yelling, "Jealous my butt. Why the hell would I care if that nerd's wasting her time with some coffee shop idiot?" The others exchanged knowing looks. Siro, snickering, Suyer, "You're totally not jealous." Mina, grinning, "Bakugo's redder than a tomato right now." Bakugo slammed his hand against the table with a loud bang. Bakugo, furious, "I can't hear you, damn it. Shut the hell up before I blast all your faces off." The group burst out laughing, even Todoroki hiding a smirk as he sipped his tea calmly. Bakugo growled in frustration, storming back to his office and slamming the door behind him. From the other side of the door, the muffled sound of Bakugo cursing filled the hallway, while inside the room, he leaned against the desk, gripping the edge tightly. Bakugo, gritting teeth, muttering to himself, "Nerd, what the hell are you doing?" Restaurant evening. Izuku sat at the small table, her hands folded neatly on her lap. The gift she had bought for the man rested carefully beside her. She kept glancing at the door, her smile fading a little more each time someone walked in and it wasn't him. The waiter approached with sympathy in his eyes. "Waiter, miss, would you like to order dinner?" Izuku, shaking her head, forcing a smile. "No, thank you. Just water is fine." Hours dragged on. She checked her phone over and over, calling him. No answer. Text messages read, but ignored. By the fourth hour, her heart felt like it was being crushed. Finally, she stood up slowly, clutching the gift bag. Her steps toward the exit felt heavier than lead. But when she turned down the street, her eyes widened. There he was, the man she had waited for, walking with another woman. They laughed together, holding hands, their bodies leaning into one another as they entered a hotel. Izuku's breath caught in her throat. Her hand trembled violently as she gripped the gift bag. Izuku, voice breaking, whispering, "So I was just nothing." With a choked sound, she threw the gift into the nearest trash bin, her chest heaving. She turned away quickly, hugging her arms around herself, fighting to hold back the tears that burned at the corners of her eyes. Izuku, to herself, biting her lip hard, "Don't cry. Not here. Not for him." Her steps were shaky, her vision blurred as she walked away into the night. Bakugo's agency lounge later that night. The group gathered for dinner, plates scattered across the table. Kaminari was in the middle of telling a dumb story, making everyone laugh. The door creaked open. Izuku walked in, her posture stiff, her face carefully blank. Uraraka, smiling, waving. "Izu, you're back. How was it?" Kirishima, grinning, "Yeah, your boyfriend treat you good?" Mina and Kaminari smirked knowingly, nudging each other. Mina, "Come on, tell us, was it romantic? Did he buy you dessert?" Kaminari, "Or maybe a kiss goodnight?" Izuku let out a short, fake chuckle, walking past them. She grabbed a glass of water and sat at the far end of the room, away from the noise. Bakugo and Todoroki both glanced at her, their sharp eyes noticing immediately that something was off. Izuku wasn't smiling, her shoulders were tense, and her hands shook slightly as she held the glass. Kaminari leaned toward her again. Kaminari, teasing, "Don't tell me he already swept you off your feet." Mina, giggling, "Your face says it all, Izuku." But Izuku just sat in the corner, sipping quietly, her eyes dropping toward the table. The laughter faded when they noticed the shimmer of tears in her lashes. Uraraka stood quickly. Uraraka, concerned, "Izu? What's wrong?" Izuku shook her head quickly, forcing a smile that didn't reach her eyes. Izuku, softly strained, "It's nothing, really. I'm fine." The lounge grows heavy with silence. Kirishima crossed his arms, frowning. Kirishima, firm, "That doesn't look like fine." Izuku, "Yairozu, gently, "We won't stop asking until you tell us what happened." Uraraka, kneeling beside her, "Please, Izu, don't keep it all inside." Izuku gripped her glass tighter. Her lips trembled, and finally, the words broke free. Izuku, voice breaking, he's a cheater." Everyone froze. Izuku, sobbing softly, "He ghosted me, made me wait for 5 hours at that restaurant. I called and called, no answer. Then when I left, I saw him with another woman, laughing, holding hands, walking into a hotel." Her voice cracked as the tears spilled freely. Izuku, choking, "I was just nothing to him. And I dash." She broke off into sobs, hiding her face in her hands. Uraraka's eyes filled with tears as she pulled Izuku into a tight hug. Uraraka, soft but fierce, "No, Izu, you are not nothing. He's the one who's trash." Mina clenched her fists, her face red with anger. Mina, furious, "I can't believe that, JRK, who does that?" Kirishima, growling, "What kind of man treats her like that?" Todoroki, cold, sharp, unforgivable. Kaminari, Mineta, and even Siro were scowling, their usual playfulness gone. Bakugo sat stiff at the end of the table, his face shadowed, fists trembling on his knees. Tiny sparks flickered in his palms. Bakugo, low growl, "Dangerous, I'll kill that BSDRD." The others glanced at him, his anger was pure, raw, and terrifying. Uraraka hugged her tightly. Her tears stained Uraraka's shirt. The others surrounded her, their dinner forgotten, the mood turning serious. Uraraka, softly, stroking her hair, Izuku, don't cry anymore. You're too good for him. Someone who can't see that doesn't deserve you. Yairozu, kneeling beside them, calm but firm. Izuku, you are one of the most dedicated and kind people I know. That man's betrayal isn't a reflection of you, it's a reflection of his own weakness. Mina, angry, fist clenched. Honestly, that guy's an idiot. Who cheats on you of all people? He's blind, stupid, and deserves to be single forever. Kirishima, slamming his fist on the table, voice loud, what a BSDRD. Making you wait like that, then walking off with someone else. That's not manly at all. Izuku sniffled, looking at him weakly. Izuku choked, whispering, I thought, maybe he liked me for real. I even bought him a gift. Her voice broke again, and she hid her face. Siro, serious, frowning, nah, Izu, if he can't see your worth, that's on him. You deserve someone who'll wait 5 hours for you, not make you wait. Kaminari, unusually quiet, leaning forward, yeah. You're amazing, Izuku. Anyone would be lucky to have you. That JRK just lost the best thing that ever happened to him. Mineta, for once, not pervy, just angry, that guy's some. He should be on his knees begging forgiveness, not playing with you like that. Izuku wiped her tears, but they kept coming. She tried to laugh weakly. Izuku, voice trembling, you guys are just saying that to make me feel better. Todoroki, calm but sharp, staring at her, no. They're telling the truth. You deserve better, Midoriya. Much better. The room fell quiet for a moment, all eyes turning to Bakugo at the far end. He hadn't moved, just sat there with his fists clenched so tight his knuckles were white. His eyes were burning, locked on the floor. Finally, he spoke, his voice low, dangerous. Bakugo growling, Deku. Izuku flinched slightly, looking at him. Bakugo, gritting teeth, you don't cry for trash like him. He's not worth your DMN tears. Got it. Izuku blinked at him, more tears slipping down, but his words hit her heart differently than the others. Izuku, soft, whispering Kakin. Bakugo stood abruptly, his chair screeching back. His hands crackled with sparks, his jaw tight. Bakugo, snarling, that BSD's lucky I wasn't there. I'd have blasted him into the pavement for even looking at you. Everyone stared at him, stunned by how raw his anger was. Izuku lowered her head, sobbing again, but this time she was surrounded. Uraraka hugged her tighter. Mina rubbed her back. Yairozu held her hand gently. The boys stood around her, each one angry, protective, and unwilling to let her feel alone. For the first time that night, despite her heartbreak, Izuku realized she had a family here. Thank you for joining us on this journey through What If Hero Deku Had Rebirth as Female. We hope you found it as captivating as we did. A big thank you to Korina Camelilpa 8 for creating such an engaging story. Don't forget to visit their profile on Wattpad for more fantastic works. The link is in the description below. If you enjoyed this video, please give a thumbs up, share it with your friends, and subscribe to Zen and Fanfics for more intriguing explorations into fanfiction and fantasy. Your support helps us create more content like this, and we love hearing your thoughts and suggestions in the comments section. See you soon in the next video.